everybody, and welcome back to some more WARNO League action. As we're going into Division 3 here, into the semifinals, and on the left side, we got Fat Kid with second Panzer Grenadier. On the right side, we have Patrician Rissemer coming around with fifth Panzer. Oh no, it's the Belgians. It's not second Panzer Grenadier. I am stupid, but it is still a pretty classic matchup here in that regard. So 16th Panzer trying to get its win rate up again, and pick some band face here. Pretty standard, as we have 16th first armored and 4th Murchison here on the side coming in for Fat Kid. The other side 5th Panther, 8th and 19th, with really old classic maps, Mount River, Airport, and Vertigo being the picks here, because new things are evil and not allowed in here.
I agree, Protoss. And speaking of new things, we are not seeing that from the part of Patricia here. We are seeing a 4 Leopard 1A1A1 opener with a bunch of pretty standard single infantry squad, 2 ATGM, and some recon holding the open areas, with the tanks actually trying to move into the defensive positions against the blue tower. So defensive positions against their own defensive positions, kind of thinking that the Belgians are going to be pushing in. And but largely, like, this is quite obviously a preferential matchup for 5th Panzer. Airport is one of the slower maps. It has a lot of open ground. It rewards a lot of the sustainability that you can do having a lot of heavy tanks as 5th Panzer. And also, it's not as relevant when it comes to opener infantry attacks, considering the opener infantry attacks tend to end up in places where they can be slowly countered with like mech buildups from the 5th Panzer side. So even if Fat Kid, the corpulent child, the blubbery boy himself, wanted to do like a full-on infantry attack with Fusiliers and the GVP Spec Ops, they couldn't. It's not possible to really fix the game at that point. Not here, at least, and not in many of the new maps anymore. Fortunately, no two legs. So, what do you think of Fat Kid's chances? Like, this is obviously getting at the Milan 2s in positions to counter the Leopard 1A1A1s means that the infantry aggro can work for the Belgian side, but immediately as the transition for 5th Panzer goes into high-tech tanks, there needs to be a good enough defensive position at that point, and 5th Panzer can famously transition pretty quickly because the Leopard 2A3 is such a cheap tank.
Well, I think the good thing for the Belgians is that they actually are up against a division that can't just lock their air out. So their good cluster bombers, their good HE bombers can come in relatively efficiently in this matchup. And that's, I believe, the one big danger for those Leos and so on, that Patrician Rissemer might get caught out at the wrong point by an airstrike, because the Belgians can afford those units relatively easily because the other ground units are pretty cost efficient. The forward deployment advantage here is not massive, but you get enough ATGMs as the Belgians as well, and you get a couple of TOW 2s with the Humvee TOW, for example, that you can, if you gain enough ground in the early game, still lock the enemy out. But the situation, as you said, if the Germans can start consolidating a push with a couple of Leo 2s and get enough AA around those to make them protected from any airstrikes, then the situation can deteriorate really quickly for the Belgians. So they have to kind of play a war of attrition whilst still keeping a tick up at the same time, which is never an easy task. So this opening here looks relatively solid for me.
Yeah, the Patrick's opening here with the Feldhaubitz, the artillery already deploying and targeting the TOW 2 Humvee. This is, of course, one of the maps where ATGM and recon positions, a lot of towers around. So early investments.
Mistake here, though, with the 155mm howitzer. He sells the Mancat 6x6. That might be biting him in the later stages. But yeah, the Humvee TOW, good targeting there. And that is not moving currently, so it could fall. It has 6 hit points at least, unlike this most other unprotected ATGM vehicles, which only have 4, so it can survive a hit or 2. But yeah, only 1, and goes down to the second one. So that's a nice kill here, especially if the Leo 1A1's being one-shot material for Totu. So getting the kill there, pretty annoying for Fat Kid.
Ooh, Fat Kid got killed on the first bear. The first bear was in a bad engagement. Now the Alouette is going forward. The Gepard is going to burst it down, and Alouette is still alive. But yeah, no recon. Currently flying blind for Patrick's side, and I think if Fat Kid realizes this could be the moment to start applying a little bit of pressure, especially as the artillery is now targeting the most important towers.
Yeah, the Leo 1A1s, luckily for Wismar, didn't get hit here. And they're rotating south. Milan 2 rotating south as well. Mistral moving to the front line. Ildas heading the Panzergrenadiers. Milan 2, number 2, is down to 1 salvo. Ooh, North has made pretty good progress and will actually be really annoying for Fat Kid. Getting a Fusiliers there and hunting that down is not easy for the Belgians. You aren't really capable of hunting it down with helicopters or so this is a problem. And the Leopards move around, or it is not, because the Scorpion just turns around and kills it. Okay. A Scorpion really getting on top of it. Humvito there as well. Looks just a bit too slow to get around and gets taken out. Leopards, 1A1s in the south. 1 down already as well. Getting into a bad engagement here between Milan 2 Scorpions and the Leo 1A5 BEs, which had the first shot. So that those 1A1s are doing terribly there. And just all get taken out. Looks in a bad spot as well. Risimer here not playing with the cohesion that you need. And this is how you lose with Panzers. Starting to lose units early before you gain your combined arms up. And letting the gaps open up. Because you want to get to the next technology level, but you have to have a cohesive frontline for that, and that is currently not the case anymore.
Yeah, the first bear, who are a close quarters dedicated recon unit, could not fight against the standard medium and long range weaponry of the ESR GVP, as well as the supporting 50 cal Iltis, and that was just a completely useless engagement for where the primary recon unit for this force was eliminated. And now then the fire support tanks, the Leopard 1A, 1A1s, moving on their own blindly and sending another Lux into the front line to get snapped up by Fat Kid's forces. This is really weak so far for Risimer. Like Fat Kid, after Fat Kid got the information of this blob, Fat Kid could have just started also exploiting the rest of the map, trying to cross over into the side of Foxtrot or even into Foxtrot. But Fat Kid doesn't even need to have to do that, actually. Like these positions are wide, they are strong, and they are trading up with more recon helicopters and Milans, and now the first Leopard 2A4C coming out, one of the few. This is vetted up, and it's going to be sent along with a bunch of infantry to hold Foxtrot. Is this going to be is the 5th Panzer player here just deciding that, oh well, this urban engagement was completely worthless, I'm just not gonna participate in it anymore? Maybe that's the correct choice, but it's still pretty weak for the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, Milan 2 now under attack by the artillery, 155mm artillery. Not hitting there, pretty unfortunate with the shot so far. That Milan 2 likely gonna survive unless the last one is a full direct hit, and I did the caster curse there. I'm sorry, Fat Kid, but that Milan 2 going down in the end to the last shot. So
Protoss, they're going over the top, they're attacking right now, and just infantry reinforcements.
That's a really interesting push there, yeah. Martyrs just pushing in there. Usually we advise against using ATG IFVs as your only frontline in a tank division. You usually want to have tanks in front of this, but when you smell that there is no defense there whatsoever, then obviously using them for the mobility to get your infantry into a good spot is pretty good. Oh, but Humvee gets one of them. Autocannon not quite in range there to deal with the Humvee. So the Hamito might win the next engagement here against the Martyr as well. Needs to smoke off. Martyr not smoking off in time. Will fall there. So the Panzer Grenadiers and the Jägers on their own now. And yeah, that's why a tank in front of them usually would help. Though against the TOW 2, you would need a pretty tanky tank there as well to get the job done. CV of Patrician Ricimer in danger as well. And the push is still ongoing, but Fatkit is reacting relatively efficiently there with quite a couple of forces moving around. At the same time, Ward 5mm artillery piece still doing good damage, but yeah, this push I don't feel will achieve all that much in the long run.
Yeah, the Milans being transported in these Milan transports, the M113 with the 50 cal and 4 extra shots. Such a great value unit here. It can counter all the Martyrs and all the Leopard 1s. It can help you win infantry fights and suppress enemy on the long ranges, and it's only 30 points. Like, that's the kind of units that the Belgians can bring out to help them achieve these defenses early on. And the weakness here would be if the Panzers kind of concentrated themselves, and that there would be a bunch of support units around, but Patrick's opener plan of doing that in the urban area was never really paid off. And now Fat Kid has built up so many troops in the urban area. I would be surprised if there wasn't some kind of an attack coming in on that part after they kind of figure out their counterattack into Echo. And yeah, just okay, now everything's moving. All the light leopards, the fire support tanks, the Rolands, they're now moving and trying to get a position to support the attack on Echo, but the attack on Echo is already done. The Milan one has been pushed back by infantry for the moment, and there is actually a kind of a small number of ATGMs that are being bombarded by the 155. But even then, not the best place to start doing these blind tank attacks. Yeah, now Fat Kid is following up with his own mech, weaker infantry fighting vehicles, but still a little bit better leopards, I think, with the greater accuracy.
Yeah, Panzer Grenadiers here getting relatively heavily decimated. Leo 1A1 goes down in the south to a side shot. The IFVs and Leo 1BEs are in position, so another really aggressive play here from Ricimer. Not quite working out. Fat Kid here reacting with a decent amount of forces, getting a roll on 3 killed there as well. Those are the kind of units that you don't want to lose. And the artillery, the 155mm, it is constantly firing on valuable targets, but it does not always have the lucky shots. And the amount of ATGMs here from the Belgians is really strong against that Leo 1 push. That's why you don't want to push with Leo 1s into positions like these. You usually want to have shorter range engagements, not the open ranges, because they are really vulnerable to ATGMs, and they just got taken apart there. This southern counter push from Ricimer was a massive mistake. The couple of Panzer Grenadiers that made it over to the other line, just now completely isolated, will get eaten up there by all the autocannons, and he will now have to fully rebuild his own defenses in the south. I like the idea from starting to push them from the north, but currently Ricimer is just playing way too aggressive, especially considering that they are the late game division. So they don't have a need here. There is no tick for the other side. They are not under pressure of losing the game, so I have no idea why they play so overly aggressive when they could just start scaling. But currently they just throw their combined arms completely against the wall, and it just falls apart.
I get the idea of wanting to do a sudden punch, especially when you've traded badly.
Oh no! Leo 283 here! Getting side-shotted by the Milan, no recon. That's why those Milan 2s just don't get responded upon, and yeah, this is how you lose the game with Panzer. Like, just throwing stuff at the enemy instead of waiting your time, biding your time. This is not second Panzer Grenadier. You don't want to play aggressive and agile. You want to play it a bit slower. You have the cheap combined arms for the defense in the early game, but you still usually want to scale up. But the scaling up part here is completely out of the question currently. Just a couple of cheap infantry. There's one good Leo, but the combined arms is nearly completely gone here.
Yeah, it's I get the idea of wanting to do a sudden counterpunch. You know, you feel like you've been hit badly, and then you immediately want to bring it back build some little bit of space between you and the enemy, keep them on their toes, maybe exploit a weakness that they have. And I think that infantry attack with just a little bit more support, a little bit more control, could have actually started a permanent fight on Echo. But the problem was that the everything was kind of mismanaged. All the engagements happened more or less on Fat Kid's terms, and everything should have just happened a little bit earlier with a little bit more recon. And there are stuff like, for instance, the heavy investment early on into aircraft with no aircraft coming in from FatKit's side. I understand that the Belgians are like very air dependent, but having two roll-ons just hang back and then immediately following it up with an infantry attack, it's the pieces are there, but as you said, there should be just a little bit more scaling, little bit more consideration here. The Belgians really thrive on quick games. They can bring out stuff relatively fast. Their units are cheap and effective, especially in these early fights. And having so many decent low-tech AT weapons, such as the Milan ones, such as the Leopard ones, the map like such as Airport, where you have these open plains where you go over the top. It's not like going against 119th or an actually heavy division. The Belgians can just occupy the space basically immediately. And even the now fashionable 7.62 machine guns are pretty nice here because they can just stop the enemy from walking through these distances.
Yeah, and another really weird attack there in the middle. Just 5 Panzer Grenadiers running across the open. That's not how you use infantry in WARNO. Like, you can use them to push if they have fire support, but the only fire support was a Leo 2 that fired 2 shots, whilst they ran into a lot of 50 cals and infantry in cover. Like, you obviously just gotta lose them all, and you can't do open ground infantry pushes like that in WARNO. Looks getting hit here by ATGMs. It comes all in super uh, off like sequence. Like there's a couple of infantry, then there's a couple of vehicles going on in their own, and then there's a couple of tanks. And Risimer really would be best just taking some breath here. Like this still isn't fully over, but they need to start worrying about trades. Like they're still not behind on points. I have no idea why they are playing so aggressively. Like what is going on here that they feel the need to push somewhere, because they are in a good spot when it comes to the ground they currently control, but they currently throw away all the units that control it. And then if Fedkid actually wants to start moving, they would by now already have a pretty easy time pushing in the south. They still move on slowly, and yeah, now they finally target the 155mm with counter battery. So this is a terrible news for Risimer, who has, like, that was the only unit currently trading up, and it is likely going to die now because it doesn't have a transport next to it. So the M109 will eventually kill it, and yeah, this game is just not going anywhere because Risimer is just not playing how you are supposed to play with the division that they picked, and that is always going to be such an uphill battle to play the division against the matchup.
Yeah, like you have that 181 point deficit in front of your face, and you just keep thinking like, well, I can just one more push, I can just take this once. I'm gonna get a little bit of a tick, and then it's gonna be a defensive game, and then I'm gonna start scaling up. But then the moment for that went away. The moment of that passed, and now it's just this constant attempt of trying to get back into that slight lead of 180 points.
Yeah, and the Martyrs here now pushing with the Leo 2s, but they once more don't have any recon around. And another Leo 2A3 eats a side shot. Yeah, like the division being played aggressively, and then even the one key unit that you are supposed to micro, like nothing else, that you have to babysit to the maximum, the Leo 2. If you don't babysit that and you do moves that allow for easy side shots, then yeah, you're not gonna win any games with 5th Panzer, and it's really hard to see how this is going to go anywhere at this point here for Risimer. F4F diving on a helicopter that is not worth its points and just gets killed off there. Panzer Grenadiers and Martyrs getting eaten up in the open ground. Like, Yeah, the reason we're pushing into bad terrain time and time again, and doesn't have an artillery going on for them now, doesn't have tanks going on for them really either, because they have so few of them. And infantry and ATGM and the support weapons, obviously, they're insanely far behind now. Like, points-wise, they're most likely over 1,000 points behind by now, because just so many of their units went into the death, they were sent in by a World War One general here.
Yeah, it's like the order for the attack was given, and then the order to cancel the attack like never received the front line. That's what it looks like here, and we see Fat Kid is eating well here. I mean, you look at just the north angle. There is another attack moving in to kind of finish the game by capturing Bravo, and with the minimal screening forces that Patrick has, because all of them have been attacking the strongest enemy points for about like 10 to 15 minutes now. I think this when this attack is shown here. Also, interestingly, Risimer's defenses are in a position. Well, they can actually kind of launch. Yeah, they can actually target that road, but if the AIFVs keep driving through, they would get under the minimum range, I think.
Yeah, they are now also opening up fire together with Mech Fusiliers, so they get the Milan 2. Second Milan 2 is a bit behind that, and yeah, no, Risimer's reinforcements actually going towards the center, because they are in need of defenses there as well. The artillery finally for Fat Kid has arrived here as well, starting to target the enemy, starting to take stuff out here. And yeah, Striker goes down, but the push to the north is not looking good here for Risimer. Those units are in a lot of danger, and they're likely going to go down there. The Jaguar and Lux sitting around further south, just chilling, and Pentagondiers here. And the Jaegers sitting a bit back, but there are just so few of them compared to the Reservists and the Mech Fusiliers on the other side. The Belgians outnumber them by a lot here, and I kind of have to criticize Fat Kid here for not sealing the deal here, because
Yeah, not
giving
winning this
fifth
fight.
giving 5th Panzer time is the only way of how Brissimer is getting back here. He still has 21 minutes, and he still can start to get that technology ball that we have seen many times. Like, if you get a couple of recon units and 4 or 5 layer 2s around, like, nothing can stop that in the long term. You can get infinite traits out of that if you micro it, and that is the one thing that I would have to criticize Fatkid on, that Fatkid hasn't gotten into a position where they get a tick. They are pushing for it now in the north, though, obviously, so yeah, the CV is a bit behind there, but I feel like they could have reached Foxtrot, they could have reached Papa by now, and be in a way closer position already to getting the point victory here.
Yeah, it's these like attacks with good amounts of tanks and small amounts of everything else, with some smoke cover, with some air cover. All of this could be really nice if it happened earlier on in the game, but at this point, the Fat Kids forces have just infested every corner of the map here, and they're so good at doing that. Standard Mech Fusilier squad will win standard regular infantry squad, especially a Panzergrenadier, just because the Mech Fusiliers have 3 machine guns. And this means that every single infantry engagement is going to need vehicle support, either Marders at the very least. And every single corner is also kind of helped with Milan ones, which will counter Marders and Leopard ones. And this is just the technological gap should have been beaten, should have been crossed earlier, and the attack should have kind of followed that. But I think Patrick was just in this sense of doing like Leopard 1 micro early on and then immediately scaling into an attack. And when this fight was denied from him, just never got back on the saddle.
Yeah, and now the CV got the northern area, starts to get the +2 Leo 2s, and Martyrs trying to respond, but they once more don't have any recon. Mehrzweckwaffe coming in, will likely kill the CV. Yeah, gets the CV, but the Fernspeyers are in an okay spot there on the one flank, so actually there is some recon there, but it's not 100% helpful there for the units coming in. Ooh, F4F just dying for nothing there. Layer 185, meanwhile, going down in the south. So, yeah, recapturing of the north should be possible. So you can't afford losing anything basically there as Risimer. And more Martyrs and so on now rotating south. Has a CV coming around there now as well. The Panther Grenadiers helping with the push. One Martyr is in a bit of danger there. Fusiliers, luckily for them, not quite close enough, but the Martyr still goes down. Oh, that's another loss that you really don't want to take there. Panzer Grenadiers pushing deeper into it. And at the same time, the big ball of Leos and the little IFVs that the Belgians have could just push towards Papa, is still not moving there. So the Leo 2 from the north might be able to rotate around in the south again, but it's still only 2 Leo 2s on the battlefield. 23 minutes in, or it's 3 at least. But you would want to have 4, 5, 6 at this point, and then just constantly move forward, kill a unit with a salvo, move back, dodge artillery, yeah, smoke, like chain smoke off ATGMs and kill them with gunfire, then rotating back into the smoke, reload, recharge the smoke, come back. Like, this is how you want to use the Leo 2s, but they currently just don't quite have the support for that, and they don't quite have the numbers yet either. That's the big problem here for Risimer. Really needs some more, but Fatkid really needs to get the move on here to push the issue and get this game fully sealed off.
Yeah, and there's just the fact that there is nothing defending Foxtrot. The Leopards would have to move and basically reposition themselves completely, and they're probably going to be doing it as these Pioneer Flam infantry reinforcements are now deploying, preparing to attack the strongest salient of the enemy once again. And at this point, the recon advantage is just showing as the M109s target first a Lux. Now they push back a Leopard 1A5. Like this attack towards Papa has already been signaled, but there are enough troops to attack basically any corner of the map for Fat Kid. So I think Fat Kid is probably just gonna wait and see what Patrick's gonna do, and then counterattack Foxtrot.
Yeah. Ipivir flying around the north, Leo 2A4C rotating towards the south once more, and we have some smoke here now coming in for the corner, but smoke is a two-edged sword because that also means that you don't spot the ATGMs maybe in time, and you usually kind of want to fight on max range of the Leo 2s, on their max range, so you want to smoke off a bit maybe, but at the same time now the push of Fatkid coming in itself, so this weird push of Resummers in the center might not even matter all that much, and I think it's also the worst possible angle, allowing ATGMs coming in from all directions towards your Leo 2s there, and not enough cover to fall back. Like, either you want to push from further north or from further south, but not really right there where they are, and Cluster Bomber now getting some hits here now as well. Yeah, this is still looking pretty desperate. The Leo 2A4C is pushing into really close range, meaning that disengaging also becomes hard, and situation here currently not looking good, and the Belgians not being fully played to their strongest capabilities here either, because they really have stopped moving after minute 1, but Fatkid only had to let the enemy exhaust himself here, and they did that really well, didn't stop the enemy from doing their plunders, and that's the best way of beating somebody, just letting them do the plunders and not stopping them in doing them.
Yeah, the reservists tanking the hits here right now with the vehicles all moving into getting the kill shots in just a moment. And yeah, this is, I mean, Patrick is still managing to build up attacks, but as you said, I think it's kind of Fat Kid's fault at this point for not using that immense KDR advantage earlier on to just pressure and again get new positions. But you know, guys, you want to play safely, you can always play safely. Wait until your F-16s come out, wait until you have massive superiority, and wait until the enemy is on the middle of the runway.
And Leo 2A4C going down, Pioneer Flam going down as well. Situation not looking good. Jaguar 2 under fire 2, and Leopard 1BE goes down, but everything else here is dead. And yeah, the 5th Panzer here just did exhaust itself way too much, and the situation is completely under control. by Fat Kid now. The Fat Kid still doesn't have a tick, but they're ahead 250 points, and there are just no blue forces to do an attack here.
Yeah.
Artillery.
I don't know, just from the very start, like the Fernspare taking the aggressive recon location when the enemy special forces had a better sniper rifle and longer range weapons. Had the Fernspare just sat back at the tower, it would have survived and maybe allowed for like 1 or 2 good engagement for those Leopard 1s, which was obviously supposed to be the firepower of that opener. And yeah, the Leopard 1s ended up moving around and getting side-shotted, trying to find enemies. Meanwhile, the infantry in that opener just sat back and didn't really do anything. It was kind of the worst of all possible worlds.
155mm coming in with some more corner smoke. There to A4C rotating slightly north here. And yeah, Jaguar 2 a bit further back, but this is only defensive units now, and yeah, Fat Kid really letting the enemy exhaust himself here. Patrician Risimer's approach from the get-go was just really kind of flawed, like too many aggressive pushes with a division that is supposed to be defensive, too many individual units without recon, without combined arms, attacking the cheapest combined arms NATO division basically out there. Like the Belgians get combined arms each tick. For 260 points, you can get a bit of AA with them, a bit of AT, and a bit of infantry each tick, basically, and a recon on top. And the 5th Panzer is pretty affordable for Panzer Division, but not compared to the Belgians. And if you don't respect that, you're just gonna have problems. You can win this in the long run on the map, but this just didn't happen. The Jaguar does go down here as well. Tornado, Mehrzweckwaffe coming in.
That kid moving 2 Leopard 1A5s forwards, gonna find out that there is nothing in those forests, and then is going to get into the engagement with that Leopard 2. And then Fat Kid's gonna sit back, and the Leopard 2 is going to follow, maybe. But still, just attack Foxtrot. You had Eterverus, you have 2 different Scorpions nearby, you have a Mech Fusilier, you have a Sniper, you can find out what's at Foxtrot. Come on.
And yeah, the situation here just not looking hot for the Leo 2's. Combined arms has fallen apart. They can afford it a bit cheaper even than like the Dutch, because their Leo 2A3s are a bit cheaper and so on, but you really have to set it up, and it just didn't happen. And the Belgians here now get the Leo 2A4C overwhelmed with just enough firepower, with enough ATGMs. A lot of cheap ATGMs coming around here for the Belgians as well. They got their cheaper ones in the transports lately as well, though we didn't even see those. Scorpion here gets killed off, but it's 257 points. It will be enough for victory here. Fat Kid really didn't play the map that well, but they played the opponent really, really well, and that is all that you need here. Patrician Risimer trying to be an aggressive player and maybe just picking the wrong division for their own playstyle here, because like that playstyle can work out if you have a bit more cost-efficient division, a bit more lighter division, but a division that also maybe allows for a bit more side armor. But Leo 2A4s are not the tank to just crash into the center with, and Martyrs are not the IV to do that with either. So in the end, yeah, it all falls apart here.
Yeah, I think the Dutch would have maybe been a little bit better for this playstyle, largely because with the Dutch reward a lot of recon play early on. They have really good recon vehicles, both armed and unarmed. They have the KCT Werkeners, of course, which are a top tier unit to kind of have around when you're playing with your early tanks, and you don't pay too much extra for your infantry fighting vehicles, because those IFVs don't have ATGMs. So all of your points or your tank killing points can go into the tanks, into the Leopard 2A4s. And I think that That's why I personally prefer 4th Dutch, even though I think it's easier to dismantle than a late game 5th Panzer would be. Also, they get better bombers, I think. More reliable bombers, at least.
Yeah, Mirage 5 BA here, trying to hit the BO 105. Failed to do so though. EPVR pushing forward. Jaeger, Panzerfaust here chilling in the rear, but situation here not looking so great for Risimer right now. And we will have to go on into the next game where they hopefully find a better opener here, because like we have seen a really good quarterfinals from them and so on, and the group stage was quite good as well, but this one here was just since minute 5 or so kind of over. Like they did never pivoted out of the playstyle that they chose from the get-go, and that was just not a winning playstyle. And Fat Kid nearly with a 2-1 KD, like really that it took so long to win here by Fat Kid is kind of a shocker, and that kind of shows a bit of a weakness that Risimer maybe can exploit in future games, that Fat Kid doesn't quite push when they can, and maybe that allows you to play around it. But obviously, for that, you still need a better KD than 0.5 to 1. But with an 0.8 KD or so, maybe Risimer still can do it here against Fat Kid. So this will be interesting. But yeah, this first one just not really a close game at any point, even from the get go. So let's see if we get a better one. Aim game number 2. So here we go, map number 2, Mount River. And in this one, we have Fat Kid on the heavier division, but only by a slight bit, because there are heavy tonks on the other side as well, as we have the first UK Armored versus HUS. So HUS doesn't quite have the IV numbers that the Warriors can be on the other side, but First Armored has the 4 deploy advantage at the same time, so this is a bit of a weird one. At the same time, the M1A1 and the M60 are the bit more versatile tanks compared to what the other side can bring, but First Armored, with the Chieftain buffs lately, has come into a pretty solid state again. It never has been terrible, but it is in a pretty good state now, and yeah, First Armored here now coming around with a double Challenger 2 opener though. That is a bit surprising to me, because I'm not quite sure what they are supposed to be great against. I guess the M60s they deal with quite efficiently, but I feel like they're a bit overkill and not really the right tank for this. On the other side though, we have at least one M60 from the get-go, but we also have an M1A1 Abrams, and those are trading really well against the Challengers.
Yeah, I think the CEV being one of the key units for 8th, it's the unit that they use to close the gap that the lack of infantry fighting vehicles creates. Just the dedicated, cheaper, soft attack unit that you can hang around and use to destroy immediate infantry threats. And with the limited number of infantry you're going to be putting out with the 8th Infantry, considering a lot of that stuff is really expensive, it's nice to have the CEV, and CEV is also it rewards micro quite well because its rate of fire is so small. And I think that the double Challenger is brought out from the fact that, well, I'm already investing so much AT weaponry into para rovers and the SAS patrols into that middle area, so might as well just actually try to win the tank fight. Might as well actually try to follow up and punish an enemy if they drive into my Paramilans. And, if they don't drive into the Paramilans, then you have 2 challengers. It's not like 8th US is going to immediately open up with a fight anyways. But if Fat Kid gets into a bad engagement with especially a 1v1 engagement against the Abrams, it's going to be a really bad start, because that Abrams is going to win, it's going to go back to repair, and it's going to come back with some friends.
Yeah, snipers moving around in the center now. Those American sniper teams pretty strong, as they have double sniper rifles. So once they get the standing still bonus, they just murder infantry pushing into them. LRS here, meanwhile, moving into the south as well. We have a Bradley on the battlefield. Those ATGMs can be quite good. Gazelle rockets here, those are great against the snipers, and they don't quite get the spot on those. They get a spot on the Toad 2 though, nearly killing that one. Ooh, last 2 rockets. Okay, landing on the sniper now. Sniper might be able to kill the Gazelle that is close to it before it can get its rockets on target. Ooh, last shot. Not
Oh,
quite getting
miss.
the kill, but the Gazelle also just flying away there, so the sniper team does survive. The Totu team in desperate need for a resupply and repair. And yeah, center here gets just gifted to Fat Kid. The forward deployment advantage is something that 8 can't quite compete with. The recon forward deployment of theirs is solid for getting optics onto the enemy, but not great for fighting. So makes sense to just leave that be and focus here on the south. And Warrior immediately going down there. That's a nice win. Bradley getting the W there. LRS should beat the Scouts Law 80 in the south as well. And that should enable a push towards Alpha. And with that, stopping the tick here going on once the CV have arrived on the front line.
Yeah, the scouts have now spotted the LRS. LRS are fighting inefficiently on maximum range by buying Fat Kid a little bit more time and information about what's happening here. But most likely, Fat Kid's southern forces are going to let this ground for the American tanks, CEV and 2 supporting tanks there. The twin challengers kind of need to engage with this alongside a lot of infantry units as well. So just Fat Kid dodging the engagement, allowing the enemy to slow themselves at the weapons teams, probably the good choice. And meanwhile, Fat Kid actually is trying to attack down southeast against this fortification of the Toll 2s. And if the Toll 2s and the snipers can be taken out, I think this could be a very dangerous flank that Patrick needs to reinforce. Okay, here we have it. 3 Rangers coming in with Black Hawks, so quick deployment, and they are going to try to hold this factory forest corner that Fat Kid is currently pushing. Also, another M1A1. No fighters here, and the Tornado, and no air defense really, so the Tornado could dive some of the Black Hawks maybe, but I'm not sure it's still.
Everything here actually rotating center right now. The Rover Milan goes down. Even the Bradley, all the tanks, realizing that the push in the south was good enough. It got the ground, so you don't really want to push towards Bravo. So rotating center here to stop this push with all your forces, that is the right choice. And it currently challenges the challenger. One of the challengers heavily damaged already. Another Rover Milan, and yeah, Fat Kid here overextending seemingly as the rotation from the 8th US here coming in time. 1 challenger down. M60 did get killed off, but the M1A1 here arriving in time. The Ranger reinforcement here coming in time to stop the rifles from gaining anywhere with their low 80s as well. And this is a massive, massive victory here for Risimer. And the southern reinforcements here for Fat Kid, all defensive units, so they won't be able to just gain the territory back. A lot of MG teams here, but there are M113s on the other side. With their 50 cal here doing a pretty good job. So they can keep this in check. The challenger in the center has to disengage, but Blackhawk here coming in as a scout, Rangers pushing forward, and the M1A1 is completely undamaged. Once it recovered its cohesion, it can just hunt down that challenger in the middle. And this is a really bad situation right now for Fat Kid.
Yeah, that 1v1 engagement that I was dreading just happened, and that M1A1 just traded against a challenger, and now Fat Kid has to basically sit behind the Milans. Oh no, but the Ito actually spotted it and got some extra damage done. Like the middle currently, the Pararow Milans can prevent the enemy from going over the top right now, but they can do nothing about the Rangers that are now moving under smoke cover. The challenger can go out there and try to do damage on the Rangers, maybe actually covered by the smoke for the moment, but still Fat Kid's resources are instead all being used into the southern flank. So I would not be surprised if Patrick managed to get into the middle position. There is infantry reinforcements are coming in on infantry fighting vehicles, but more infantry and more M60s and another M1, all of them coming in to support the middle. And I doubt just 2 uplifts is enough to fight this off.
Yeah, Warrior here getting engagements in the south. Rangers slowly pushing into the center with some smoke cover. Milan 2s going down in the south. The Engineer Ranger Dragons start to get overwhelmed here, but the Bradley has done a pretty good job helping out. Autocannons dealing with those MG fire teams. Armored Rifles trying to push forward, but the M1A1s here still around on the battlefield. Challenger in the middle is in danger again as the M1 Abrams rotates towards it. The Warrior Pleek starting to arrive. Gazelle rockets coming around as well here, but M1A1 here in a good spot. Another couple of M60s coming in that those can deal pretty well with
Oh no,
the
here's the
Warriors.
cluster.
Ooh, yeah, cluster bomber, no AA there. No tornadoes in the sky either, as the combined armed here this time around not quite here yet. And there goes the Challenger. So the M60s and the M1A1s on the ranges that are currently given with the Warriors should have a pretty good time if the smoke is used correctly. Milan 2 does get a hit against the M1A1. Another HGM comes around, smoke comes out in time. And yeah, that M1A1 has to get the hell out of there. Has to find a path where it doesn't get shot up on the way out. One Warrior Pleek does go down here in the end, and the other one does retreat the heck out of there. So M1A1 still in the end trading efficiently. It just needs to get back for the repairs. Bradley now in a bit of danger, goes down in the south. The armored rifles finally get to it, so it seems like the southern zone will get retaken by Fatkit, and Fatkit could rotate a CV in there. Still has control over the center, as the Rangers got pushed back out, but the trades here currently, in total, still really solid for Risimer. Still having the M1A1s on the battlefield. Another one has arrived on the front line, and there are no tanks on the other side, so it's fully defensive playstyle that Fatkit can play here right now, and they really have to be careful to not keep on losing units here time and again, like they currently do. Armored rifles going down, warriors going down. You need to get a combined arms behind a couple of tanks up once more here, and maybe move over to chieftains. Yeah, chieftain Mark 9's coming around so that you have a bit of a cheaper tank to start this regrowth back.
Yeah, and this wide front line of armored rifles and warrior appliques in the middle here, I mean, they're just going to try to walk forwards, and I guess that is a way to gain some ground. But the M1A1 can just snipe at them at long range. Any of the tanks can just snipe at them on long range, and even though that might work together with the southern region, Alpha and Papa getting captured, there is still an Abrams and nothing really to actively deal with it. So I think this middle walk forward is just going to be another waste of resources here. Meanwhile, the fire support tanks, the M60s, are basically in knife fighting range almost. Not that close, but close enough to have to deal with the Hell Arm and to be able to 50 cal the paraleaders. So another infantry unit just needs to go in the middle, more rangers, more mech rifles, and the M60s have the fire supremacy there already.
Yeah, and M1A1's here fighting back. Rover Milans, Warrior Pleeks all going down. Nothing really touches them. Everything is fighting on a bit too short of a range. Hellarm there goes down to the Stinger. Rover tries to get around, but they're all starting the engagements at gun range. And the Ito here also in that building gets a really, really great position and has gotten a good couple of kills now. Gets another Warrior Pleek here. Like, the combined arms this time around really well set up by Risimer, like a complete night and day change compared to what they had going on last game. And the M1A1's here, a pinnacle unit that has worked out really well. A couple of times it has been close. This one in the south now is in big danger. Oh, the stun is brutal. Might allow the challenger, the chieftains.
Oh.
Yeah, chieftains get a kill, so that's finally an important kill here by Fatkit. But at the same time, the situation around the center point is in big shambles. The only somewhat saving grace is that the one of the M1A1s is still back and has to be repaired. Otherwise, I think the pushing power here already would be so high that all the units of Fatkit would have been pushed out. Mech Rifle Law coming forward. M60s here helping out. Warrior Pleek trying to get a hit, but currently the situation's still not great. Southern situation here still in a lot of trouble as well. And 426 points for Fatkit, but the kill-death ratio here really going well for Risimer. There comes an air spam. Tornadoes are really great currently, so this could be a way back in here. HE Bomber now targeting something else. Didn't drop its bombs. Has to come around again. And it's only aiming on an M60. So even if it gets the kill there, it's not worth that much. Para leaders under fire. Ooh, Kiowa Warrior going down. That's a nice kill. F-16 cluster there. In an interesting run as well. Does get hit by the tornado. Does get pushed back. Tornado Seed trying to get a kill with the guns. Stingers push it back. But it gets the kill against the F-16. F-16 going down. Okay, so finally FatKid starting to maybe crawl back into this game here. A couple of really, really important kills here in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, and the rifles infantry that could move in and actually secure Fat Kid's hold on the center zone were just bought right now. The reinforcement points have been used to probably to have air. So right now we're only seeing infantry start moving in the front line right now.
F-111 LGB though, getting a challenger there most likely. There we go. Important kill there. Can come around and kill another unit, and there's currently no AA up. Going for the rifles right now. That's a good kill there too. And they will get out, so paying off in one run here basically. Getting all points back, and will be
as I was saying. Oh yeah, no, as I was saying, the problem with the slow reinforcements is that aircraft troopers and rangers are deployed with Black Hawks, so the front line of Abrams that have been kept alive can just attack with the heli infantry while the British infantry is still transporting. Oh no, this is a huge moment here. There is just a single Milan 2 holding the entire middle. There's only two chieftains down south, and they're not in any kind of a position. And basically, the momentum, despite those air kills, the momentum has working very well for Patrick right now.
Yeah, armored rifles here, and not in cover, getting chewed up out in the open by tank and MG fire. And then there's only the 7.6mm here left. F-16 versus Tornado in the sky, as there are no supporting ground units here for this air fight. Both sides get pushed back. Another Tornado coming in. Ooh, the Stinger gets a hit. Stinger gets the kill, but the Tornado number 2 gets the kill on the other way as well. So in the end, both sides lose their plane. Still a good trade there for Patrician Risimer. And at the same time, continues setting up the pressure in the south. Has to be a bit careful in the south now. M1A1 coming forward though, gets into the range against the Chieftain. Chieftain just staying out in the open. Will have to disengage there. M1A1 keeps on getting closer and doesn't get the side shot there. That would have killed the Chieftain most likely. But center gets retaken now. Patrician Riesemir will get up with the +2 tick here in a second, and yeah, needs maybe a couple more units into the south, but that's exactly what is coming in with the helicopters, and Chieftain Mark 9 goes down, rifles go down. Yeah, this is a night and day shift to game number 1 in Riesemir. Riesemir really showing why they are here in the semifinal in this one, and it's looking pretty rough for FatKid right now.
Yeah, I also really like the usage of the helicopters in exactly the way that I think they are best used in most scenarios, which is fast deployment behind your front line, not dropping the armed helicopters in the middle of the enemy, but just making sure that you can keep up infantry attacks.
And one showing side armor, got side shotted once already, and does go down. Oh. That was a bit overextending there. Once more, Risimer has a bit of a recon issue. A couple of recon units still alive. Actually, only that one sniper unit, and that led to that challenger chieftain getting the side shot there. So in the end, the Southern situation now looking a good bit worse again. But 1M1A1 lost there, still something that can be managed, but the number now down to 1 again. But on the other side, we only have that one chieftain. Another challenger enters the battlefield. Chaparral's coming up. So AA weapons now coming in. IHawk AA weapons and Chaparral's. Wait, no, only the Chaparral. Yeah, and a TOW AT weapon. That way around, coming around here. Smoke into the corner on the south. I'm not really sure that this is worthwhile, but the Mud moving forward to get the capture there into the smoke as M113 is just trying to find everything behind the enemy lines, trying to find some AA, trying to find some enemy artillery maybe here, just going really deep, though likely just going to go down to the Challenger here in a second. Rover gets shot up by it, or captured. But the aircraft troopers just walking over the open field there again. This is kind of what was the big mistake last time, but this time around there are no autocannons to punish it, so the push with the infantry over the open field actually might work out, or not. Oh, tornado!
Oh,
Oh, this was a really swingy bombing run there on the Dragon Rangers. Those are really expensive units, so losing them and another aircraft troopers to that bombing run is massive. Fat Kid here starting to really become scary with the air, so more AA units could be helpful there. Another Chaparral coming up. Chieftain at least gets killed off in the south. Rifles get killed off in the south as well, so the ground balance is gained here by Patrician Risimer, but the tornadoes start to become a existential threat to all his ground forces.
yeah. I mean, the sending the donation of the infantry over the top, it is a calculated risk, I think. I mean, if there's only so many shots that a chieftain can fire, and of course, the Abrams is out there potentially challenging any of these vehicles. But I just feel like this at this point, this push is done for the sake of pushing. That the enemy has put so many points into air. There is no challenge for the F-111, and at this point, just forcing Fat Kid to keep up an engagement is working very well for Risimer. The Risimer has not the best, but a pretty strong line of snipers as recon in the middle, rangers as close range infantry, ITOs as long range defenses, and with supply, Chaparral, Mortar, Abrams, the combined arms, the really good combined arms. It is here right now, and Fat Kid kind of needs to be put into same situation where Risimer was in the last game, where they just keep up the constant attack, trying to get a little bit of an edge in the game, not realizing that they are playing straight into the enemy hardpoint.
Yeah, and the F-111 here now, trying to find a bombing run again.
There it comes.
And it gets onto the Challenger. It does go down for it, but in the end, it still got more than double its points worth in kills here, so that F-111 did pay off big time with its 4 drops. And another M1A1 now coming in, so the tank balance will stay heavily in favor of Risimer. And those heavy tanks, if there are not enough tools against them, they just can continuously hold positions and also start to gain the value over time. Armed rifles here under attack.
I gotta say, sacrificing that sniper unit was a really bad idea from Risimer, and right now the Abrams is wounded and is getting into reasonably close ranges with no actual dedicated recon. I think that is a risk, but the +2 is still going, I guess.
Yeah, and gets a warrior applique here as well, and that is something that really Riesemer has done really well this game, especially compared to last game, is like how he tackled the HGM positions and the IFV positions of the enemy, always getting into the gun range and letting the tanks get the shot out. Is pushing towards a +4 now here with the MAT-CP as well, about to overtake the enemy in points with that. Mag Rifle Laws moving around in the south as well. The recon situation here, once more, kind of terrible. Risimer once more playing kind of blind. Fat Kid has a good bit more around there, and the Warriors now trying to come around, but those are the normal Warriors without any ATGM. So just the baseline, and they don't do anything against an M1A1, so both of them go down. They kill an ITO, so they don't fully get murdered there, but the M1A1 here is such a massive issue for all of them.
Yep, and now it is correctly moving away and allowing the CEV to get into the front line, where the CEV can just, for quite cheap and not really risking an expensive unit, can just sit there and force the enemy to just keep going through with this infantry attack, with the dedicated anti-infantry unit in the front. It's getting targeted by the tornado. I think that's kind of what Risimer wants out of this. Second tornado coming in, targeting the Abrams. Not targeting the Abrams, destroying the Chaparral.
Yeah, another HE bomber here coming in. Chaparral killer is really big as well, though. And yeah, there are only Chaparrals coming in as AA. No Eyehawks on the battlefield yet. So this is still the one thing that could kill Risimer here, the air force of the enemy, and how little he has against that. He didn't really get any kill on any of the bombers yet, only killed one air-to-air tornado, so that is a problem. But the M1A1s here continuously generating value on the ground. Another Rover Milan going down. We have another Chieftain here finally, but it's only a single one. And there are two M1A1s here still around. The helicopter reinforcement, as you pointed out, a key factor in those engagements and how Risimer gets a bit more forces onto the enemy than they can get on them just by reinforcing quicker. But those pushes through the center are just so dangerous. Another M113 going down there. And the aircraft trooper is now getting attacked by Tornado AA as well, because there are no anti-air units there. The Stinger teams all have been taken out as they pushed a bit too much over the open field in general. If I have something to some systematic error by Risimer, I feel like is how much infantry is walking out of cover. And yeah, gets the kill here with the Ranger though. Chieftain and Centurion down in the south. M1A1 can help out there, and the kills are fully back online again. Another Challenger has to be bought. Like, this is a constant tug of war between these two when like kills go back and forth, but they on the ground constantly favor Risimer just that slight bit.
Yeah, I mean I think that the better tanks have helped a lot here. These have been kind of a peer on peer fighting, similarly mechanized, similarly infantry play divisions happening here, and the M1A1s being the big dog, being able to just defeat the challengers, not just the challengers, but also the chieftains. I meant the challengers. Anyways, the M1A1s being the better ones here, I think is a big deal. You can bravely send it against the warrior applique, against the chieftain, against the challenger, and you know that your enemy is going to come after you, Abrams. So you just play a little bit more passively with it. You don't use it as infantry support in the way you have rest of your vehicles for that. And this also combined with the fact that the aircraft troopers and the Rangers, there can always be an extra 2 squads in that fight earlier before your enemy can actually build up their forces, because they are sending their stuff out in warriors. The thing about doing infantry attacks, the little skill you want to master in this game is that you want to pre-buy your units when you're attacking. When you send infantry or tanks forwards, if you can, buy the reinforcement when the attack happens. And if you buy those reinforcements with helicopters, by the time, like, they can arrive in such a key moment that your enemy will be just so raging about not having the air supremacy, you know? And when you have so much expensive stuff anyways, you're inherently slowed down by the price of your units. Division like 8th US can gain a lot with those heli deployments.
Yeah, warriors attacking the mech rifles in the south now, but the tanks just driving through. The warriors without Milans are also an interesting choice there. And like, the warrior pleaks were supposed to be the ones that kill the enemy there, so I get the choices, but the warrior pleaks were mispositioned a couple of times, just a bit too close, and this really bites you on this map. Like, the HGM positioning has to be a good bit better than it was by FatKit, especially against M1A1s that can start one-shotting your armored units quite easily. The air spam here is still good, but the like, Risimer has realized that they can just keep on moving forward against the ground units and keep on getting kills there. Loses the M1A1 now finally to the Tornado Bomber, but the question is, does that still matter? Because there are nearly no ground units alive here. The Tornadoes really have done a good job, and Risimer also has really done a terrible job at trying to get kills on them. Like I don't get why there has not been a single iHawk this whole game, and like a couple of pivots
I-
maybe also could have done a good bit better than those chaparrals. Like they are just not great against planes,
yeah,
especially not
I
against
think
high.
I think this it's expected that the tornado bombers are always going to come with the seed. So I think Risimer is just like, well, I'm just not gonna have any. I'm just gonna make the seed useless. Then I'm just not gonna get any of the radar AA, even though the iHawks would absolutely be better here, and it would even be worth it. But I think that decision is pretty easy to make when you're building a deck against First UK.
Yeah, and in the end, Fatkid even had the KD thanks to those air spam units, but he had nothing left on the ground because both sides just exhausted themselves fully there in those fights. And Risimir just had those 1,000 points more in units on the ground thanks to Fatkid investing so much into air, and that did capture the ground, and that won the game too here. So yeah, a much better game here out of Risimir having the combined arms under control. And this means that we will go to a game 3 here, the decider game in this best of 3, and Grissom now looking a lot better. So this will be an interesting final game here. Fat Kid really got kind of screwed by the opener and then never really found the footing that they needed to keep the M1A1s in check. Always trying to find a solution, but never quite having it at hand. And yeah, Grissom looking good here.
Yeah, I think Fat Kid overextended just a little bit too much, trying to attack that ATGM tower location next to the middle. Like I get that, like they got the good damage in on that toe too early on, and I think that was kind of what fed into that attack, wanting to cut off that reinforcement road and just basically force your enemy to recapture it on close ranges, which is a huge points draw away from 8th US. 8th US wants to do big stuff, wants to do mech stuff, doesn't want to get bogged down and sending engineers and rangers into the forest. But Risimer reacted to that very well, sent in the tanks back to the middle, and just had a series of really good engagements with the M1A1s. And I don't think Fat Kid ever fully like came back from that. I think that was the momentum killer. And from that point on, Risimer did not make the significant overextensions. The constant mild overextension was calculated with the Abramses never actually sending themselves to death.
Yeah, and really well played there from Wismer. So let's see how game number 3 will go. Quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with the decider game here in this best of 3. So here we go. Game number 3. We have 4th Motschützen versus 4th Moto Strelka on the right side. So,
Stelecka, I think.
so the two mechanized divisions here of the act miners against each other. And we have the classic aggressive Fallschirmjäger opener here on the left side. So let's see what the slightly heavier of the two divisions here, being able to scale up to T-72s and so on in form of the 19th, will bring up against that. They have special forces as well, but not in infantry forward deployment like the Fallschirmjägers here on the other side. And the recon ones are not quite as capable in the combat. They are more there really for the recon part and dealing with smaller recon squads on the other side, plus bringing the ground surveillance radar. And I also see a classic, like, early 2025 style T55 push here coming up from Fat Kid. So the classic BRR 1K T55 followed up by two Shilkas. This was the plot that brought Berliner Gruppierung back onto the menu for like 2 weeks before it all got nerfed into the ground, and it is still decently capable, but I'm interested to see how well it will do here in this matchup, as we have T55 AM1s on the other side.
Yeah, I think the weakness here for the corpulent child is going to be that they're just going to get the second shot. The T55 AM1s, they don't have the extra armor, which is the more important detail, I think. But for only 15 more points, they they have such a range advantage, and the T55 is a very slow tank at 45 kph. And if the side that starts shooting first is going to get a significant cohesion advantage and probably just stop the push on its own. The T55 Ace don't have the smoke launchers to actually cover themselves over this, and we're seeing a very defensive opener here coming in for the Czechs. We're seeing security troops coming in, the 10-man security squad with no AT weaponry. We're seeing, interestingly, two heavy mortars, Svatavas, which are ATGM equipped exceptional recon units, and then just a single ship's unit to kind of hold the entirety of the southern flank. I think there is an expectation that the enemy is going to all in on Anna, and also that the enemy is going to use the forward deployment advantage to go to Dimitri. And this expectation is being built around of the eventual counterattack will probably use the Visadgari, the helicopter-borne, stronger special forces units, but sending them out there right now, especially when you don't know if your enemy is opening with MiG-21s, it's just a bad way to spend your tempo, I think. Personally, maybe I would have tried to contest Dimitri with something, but also, I'm not in the tournament.
So yeah, we have a T-72 M1K here coming around in this as well, and that is a key unit because the way how units target in WARNO is by the dangerousness level on the other side, and they try to attack the most dangerous unit that they can deal damage to first. And T-55 Ace can deal damage to the T-72, but not a lot. They can deal a lot of damage to the T-55 AM1s, but not so much to the T-72. Oh, but cluster bomber! Oh, it kills all the the infantry. Oh,
It's bad infantry, but it's still 40 guys.
Yeah, all the bad infantry, but all of them dying in transport. It's also obviously 80 points worth of transports. They're just dying, and yeah, that also means that moving around that is going to be a lot tougher. Yestercar trying to get the Me Too's here, but Bad Kid with the OG cheese that is back thanks to the change to the drop pattern. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that we haven't seen it more yet. Like, I expected cluster spawn road spam being full swing and pure cheese everywhere. It hasn't really fully taken on yet, but yeah, it's looking pretty dangerous here now. The Svatava with the ATGM at least getting a decent amount of stuns here. BMR coming around, getting killed off. Svatava, can it get another ATGM in there? BMRs and T-55s here in heavy fighting. The T-72 just rotating north, showing rear armor, not taking the fight. Why is it running? Why are you running? You are supposed to be the front line. Showing side armor there is not great. Yeah, the Fat Kid's push here completely falling apart once Rismer actually decides to take the fight there. And ATGM's coming around, so Fat Kid here losing all his armor, only having the infantry left. So yeah, that answers the question, is this still viable? Answer is nope. And it's not as stupidly cost efficient anymore, and it's just gonna get got. T-55 is just going down there to the Svatava's T-72 fire, and here comes the counter push. The Mi-17 here coming around as well, and yeah, even with that MiG-23 great run in the end here, Fat Kid is in insane danger. He has next to nothing left here. Strela failing to even hit the Mi-17, so likely just gonna get rocketed down, and there's not a single unit left around Boris here right now. So Patrician Risimer just pushing towards it. Like, the only danger is, yeah, that he might just get air spammed here. He only has a Yester car. He needs some aircraft to deal with the situation. He has a coup. Okay, MiG-21 goes down, so good kill there. T-72 M1K pushing forward, will take the whole ground. Center currently not even captured yet, so it's actually a tick here now for Risimer for a bit. Conquers ATGM moving around here, but actually moving out of cover if it goes this way. Panzerjäger there, that's a good investment at this point. Svatava smoking off too late. Will get got. So yeah, Risimer has to be careful with how far he wants to push here. has to catch up with a couple more units. There come the Wizard Kari that you were talking about. They're not just going into the middle. The Mi-17 also stopped moving forward. Oh, Conqueror's getting some free shots there. Risimer is falling back too far. Why is Risimer pushing out of this tree line? Why is he giving up that point? Oh no, Risimer, what are you doing? That Conqueror's just getting free shots. Oh, this is a disaster. The other Conquerors might just get some free shots as well. Risimer, you were supposed to just stay in there and take the fights. Why do you run here? Once more, why are you running?
Yeah, and also the Wizard Kari getting... Okay, now a second group of Wizard Kari is coming. You have extra helicopters. You can resupply those rockets. You can just push that single Strela. And but right now that the Resimer is just giving extra time for the enemy to resupply. You have the units here to just go and get the Citadel in the middle. And they were busy microing the Svatava behind those Panzerjägers.
Oh, there comes the MiG-23 cluster again. And it will get another good runoff. Coop, this time not with a hit. T-72 M1K did get hit. Conquerors has line of sight. And...
oh no.
Likely gonna get a kill there. Yeah, there we go. So in the end, full-on reset of both sides' northern forces there in the north. So, like, yeah, both sides with a big plunder coming around. And the Wizard Kari here now pushing towards the center, but they might be too late. The 7mm MGs and so on coming around. They could have just deployed directly into the middle. I don't know why Risimer played so defensively there. Like, the one Strela just completely scaring him off there. His Mi-17s together with the Mi-17 rockets could have just immediately dropped them onto the point. Actually even dropped them directly into the north as well, and then he could have kept infantry around his tanks there and hold on with that. Plus, yeah, he needs to get some fighters online. Mi-17 rockets now helping out though, still coming around, but yeah, the full-on reset is real. Still, Risimer, I feel like, is in a decent spot if he can keep the MiG-23s of the enemy under control in the long run.
Yeah, now with the rocket helicopters, the Wizard Kari can push through these PKM defenses pretty easily. But two Fallschirmjäger squads, a leader, bunch of recon already deploying into Boris, thus cutting this +1 leadership for Patrick pretty shortly. Also, Fat Kid has not realized that center can be taken for free, so Fat Kid could actually get an increasing tick going on here. The security troops, zero-vet security troops on open ground, not in a great engagement right now. Panzerjägers are cutting them down with... Yeah, basically at this point, it seems like the Czechs are moving into a more defensive game. They're going to try to hold the middle with the Wizard Kari, which is a correct choice. And having the tanks out there means that they can still threaten and keep the enemy locked down in Boris. But it seems like they're now expecting with the Conqueresses and with the AGS-17s, BMP-2s, and an extra Cube, just expecting to this to be a slow game now. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. The problem is that even with all this scaling and all of these T-72s and Cubes getting bought here, the enemy is still in kind of an attack mode with a bunch of these Fallschirmjägers just moving up to Anna. And if these helicopters are taken care of, they might actually reach there. And if this becomes a defensive game for the Czechs, the enemy can hold the center position, which they are going to be taking right now, and then just attack under a +2 leadership. It's a big threat.
Yeah, Fallschirmjäger getting fired upon by the Mi-14s, so taken out there. Conquerors finds another Panzerjäger there in the north. AGSs rotating around. The T-72s and T-55s here moving around. Wizard Kari once more doing a Risimer style push over the open field there. Conquerors getting shots out against the T-55, but no hits. Mi-17s start to get taken out by the Shilka. Conquerors getting some HGMs against it though. Shilka goes down, so good kills there for Risimer again. We'll need some more reinforcements towards the north here. Currently fully focused on the central point though, but not using his tanks there, which is a weird choice. BMP-2 and T-72s here around. Another Wizard Kari will rotate into the center here once more. But in the north. Panzerjäger and the T-55 trying to overwhelm the Conquerors. Likely gonna achieve that. The defensive of that northern point currently not all that great. So yeah, T-55 and T-72 need to start doing something here again. Start to push forward. Panzerjäger under fire by the Vizat Kari. But you still have to be careful of how deep you push with those T-72s. The other Vizat Kari could help out and just finish off the Panzerjäger, but they're not doing that right now. MiG-23 cluster coming around again. Oh, and just gets a drop onto the coop. Yeah, this is the power of the new air, and the Panzerjäger here in the center still not there.
Bombers. Yes, high altitude bombers were buffed. That's what Protoss was saying. Yes, T-72 here in a very key moment. Maybe actually, like Fat Kid's attack is, I think it's gonna be pushed back just by the fact that these two tanks are still holding it for the Czechs, and there are now a recon jammer helicopter, Vizat Kari, and T-72 already preparing, and a mortar already preparing. So there are forces that are going to get into Dmitry. There's a gunship helicopter with the heavy rockets that have been bought, as well as a leader. And I think when those get in near Dmitry, there's going to be some kind of
Vizat Kari goes down in transport in the south. The double Strela both getting a hit there. The T-55 and T-72 in the middle, though, have done a really good job. The T-55 AM2 there off Fat Kid, pretty low. But once more, the Vizat Kari's off. Risimer not moving forward, not protecting his tanks there against just infantry walking on top of it. So the one T-55 going down. Vizat Kari here now getting into the engagement. Modaufklärer under fire. Conquerors hitting the T-55 AM2. Will get the kill this time around. Both sides once more with a lot of death. Mi-24 rocket there way too close to a Shilka. But Shilka gets them down. Can it get a kill? Ooh, it gets the kill. Mi-24 needs to get the hell out of there. MiG-21 Biz HE here actually gonna strafe it down. Coop, can it find the hit? Yes, it can. So revenge kill there immediately. Then in the end here, more red units once more dying than blue units currently. But then Mi-24P here in the center. No AA up there for Risimer. No planes up for Risimer throughout this game yet either. There we go. Finally a MiG-29 arrives on the battlefield. T-72 tries to help out the Vizat Kari in the south. Multiple more of them rotating in here. As the MiG-29 does get the kill, but does go down to the coop on the other side as well. MiG-29 here being taken out. Pushed towards the center now.
3 Vizat Kari being dropped in here in reasonably safe distance from Dmitry, walking together now with that leader and with the T-72. And with reinforcements still far out for Fat Kid. Fat Kid's good infantry.
Oh, but Vizat Kari in the middle, being caught out in the open. Risimer just using them with an attack order and not microing them into the next building, so they just stood out there out in the open and nearly going down. And it seems like Fat Kid actually might regain the control over the center points while also flanking around the north, and that is always super dangerous on Vertigo. Losing the northern forest control and getting flanked from there can be devastating in the long run as well. Vizat Kari once more being just attack moved and not ordered into the next building in the southern town fight as well. Big miss micro of the special forces here. One of the most valuable assets here in the 19th just being thrown away once more by Risimer, and that is really dangerous. If you start running out of infantry in this matchup, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So starting to lose all your Vizat Kari there, pretty bad. S-25 rocket rotating south.
Jaeger is getting hits in the front armor of the T-72 and doesn't get the third hit there. Su-25 coming in and kind of saving the situation for the moment. Does get traded away by the coup, by the East German coup. East German infantry now moving into Anna. Panzerjäger unit finding out that there is a blind spot for that AGS-17, and they're going to be able to get in there with 2 mech support, and with no tanks and no extra infantry for Anna position, Fat Kid could be taking Anna here. Fatki's resources are right now are going to reinforce that southern zone, and the southernmost zone has already been kind of captured by the Czechs. But the situation in the north is going really well for Fatkid.
Yeah, ATGMs they're all focused towards that center zone, not I like that center building block, and
Citadel.
not quite rotated up far enough north to intercept those T-55s there pushing around and units flanking. The Panzerjägers go down to the AGS 17, but it is under fire by T-55 and the Shilka in a second here, so we'll get overwhelmed there. Panzerjägers number 2 pushing forward will run into the next AGS team, so will go down. The reinforcements in the south got overwhelmed by the Wizard Kari. T55AM2 there gets killed off as well, so the southern part is going terrible for Fatkid right now. So they really have to get something done in the north. They have a 500 point advantage, which on this map can be quite significant in the long run, but the southern position here starts to look really dicey for our player in red. Another Modschützen here might go down in transport as the Wizard Kari get another RPG shot. Yeah, get them in transport. SC-25AT trying to get the stop on the northern push. Does fail to do so, but ATGM here gets the Shilka, so at least taking revenge for the SC-25. T-55 AM1 rotating as well. Should win against its only T-55A brethren on the other side. The modernization giving it better accuracy on the main gun. But it gets hit, doesn't get a hit back, so that swings the whole balance there in that gunfight. Has a Conquerors as a friend, but the T-55A on the other side hitting twice whilst moving, whilst being stressed, and dodging the Conquerors as well. So lucky shots there for Fatkid, and T-55AM1 still doesn't have smoke, so it does get hit there. Wizard Kari's on the south, doing Wizard Kari stuff, overwhelming the whole forces there. Fagot ATGM being pushed back now as well. One of the Wizard Kari did die in the middle, but the whole regaining of the south is really important here for Risimer. That means if they can hold on to Anna, they will win this game in the long run. So really, really big victory with that push.
Yeah, and I gotta say, 17 minutes in, and we still have not seen a mass of T-72s, and I think that speaks to how well Fatkid has been doing here. Like, even when Fatkid has been losing troops, the counterattacks have happened at just the right time, just like correctly executed. The airplay has been a really nice balancer here, and we can see that kind of the strategy here for Fatkid is a continuous infantry assault. And but the continuous infantry assault would be countered by mass T-72, and the fact that this has not been achieved yet speaks to how well these infantry assaults are executed. Now, with the Citadel under East German control, the red player here, so the Fagot missiles and the PKMs and the Conquerors here are going to be really, really worthwhile. Like the way to actually fight against that potential mass T-72 force. And 19th gets a lot of cards of T-72 M1s, and those things are 17 pen. Like, they are not bad tanks at all.
Oh,
Actually, probably the best.
MiG-21 finds another coup, once more punishing the enemy for not having a like overarching amount of AA and not having any fighters out to punish those kind of bombing runs that just dive beyond the enemy front line. So yeah, Risimer like cheapening out a bit there on that part. The Mi-24 does survive there. Did get a good couple of rockets hits. Yeah, but he's now under fire by the Strela. Needs to get the hell out of there. Strela is 3 vet, so likely gonna find a hit here in a second. Does not find another one here yet, but MiG-21 is coming around for it and will find the kill there. Another MiG-23 MF bomber here coming around, and just like in the last game, Risimer has a bit of an air problem, but this time around it's a bit closer than last time, so he really would do well on getting some better fighter cover here for the whole situation. MiG-23 cluster coming around again here. Will get the hit against the T-72 and get out alive. So yeah, the airplay here is maybe costing Risimer the game again. MiG-21 BN cluster trying to get some strafings, but he really, really needs to step up the game when it comes to the AA.
Yeah, and as we saw in that engagement there, the T-72 and the Conqueror's missile, when they tried to interfere with the infantry attack, the Fagot missiles coming from multiple directions were just immediately disposed them. The T-72 was pushed further back into supposed safety, but then Fat Kid just kept up the infantry attack, spotted it, and destroyed it while it was stationary with a bomber. And even now, the helicopters that are so relevant for 19th to actually have fast firepower, because they can basically choose between BMP2s and helicopters. Those are the two: the BMP2 track with the T-72s, or the helicopter track with the gunships and the VZ-Kari. Those are like the two main things that you can do with 19th, and the helicopters have not worked out here. The air maybe just like the delaying of the Czech infantry attacks in the Dmitry led to a gap in the air defenses, and then this gap, when it was spotted by Fatkid, became like the main issue. And now the Czechs have a MiG-29, which is the best fighter out. They have two Coups as well, and pretty close to the front line, and they do have the entirety of the south with no East German forces, barely any actually sieging it. And also, no reinforcements are coming into the south. So I think this is going to be, that kid is going to try to do to win this the difficult way, which is to straight up just get into Ivan. But
HGM getting the supply truck there. Well, he doesn't even have to get into Ivan. He just has to hold now, right? Like, this is the big issue for Risimer right now. And Risimer really has to be careful there with his Coups. The Coups are in open line of sight. Could get cluster bombed again. And I really would like to see 3, 4, 5 fighters out of him, just to make sure that he starts to kill off the enemy planes and nothing can just keep on coming against him. Eyes another SU-25 rocket instead. Those have not done well so far. And yeah, he has to push back in there somehow in the north, so that's a bit more of the problem. I don't quite get the SU-25s at this point. I would have liked some Danas, or like in general some artillery a lot more than those planes here right now. Planes usually good if you need to like enforce a push or open up for a quick coming push, but pretty bad just in outright trades unless you really air spam like we see on the left side. Meanwhile, artillery not great at helping out with pushes immediately, but way better at trades long term. And I think long term trades are the more important part here right now for Risimer to get this under control and take out the ATGM positions on the other side. MiG-29 here playing a dangerous game. Does stay alive though and did get the kill against the seed plane. So finally, a bit of a hit against the enemy air force, but this infantry push over the open field we have seen fail many times in this best of 3 so far, and I feel like this one is not going to go any better than the previous ones.
Yeah, I was mistaken when I thought that they were going to be pushing into the back point, because yeah, I mean all of these reinforcements, Conquerors, Coups, BMP1s, all of these are defensive forces, of course. But I don't know. I still think that if it's going to come down to a 300-point difference, it is possible to break through this with the T-72s if the engagements are done well enough. It's I don't think it's going to be easy. Another Conquerors got taken out by a Metis team, and just straight up the lack of infantry, in proper positions, and the fact that the fast infantry killing power of the Su-25s and the Mi-24 gunships has kind of been hard countered already quite a few times. There's no going back to that. Only the T-72s and the potential Dana howitzers could actually fix this, but you're kind of climbing up a hill with somebody kicking you down from up above, as all the weapons teams of Fat Kid are just such a wide front line.
CV being caught out on the open. ATGM does miss, so it will be able to get into cover here. But yeah, that bit of a dicey moment there, and there comes the MiG-23s again. The high altitude MiG bombers trying to find another bombing run here. ATGM from the AA from the side, not quite getting the kill. It does get its run. Kills the T-55 AM1 in the south. Does at least get hit once, so it will be out for repairs for a while. But here comes the HE bomber for the Igla team. Gets the Igla team. Oops, trying to gain the kill. They don't find it there. And the second MiG-23 will get out alive as well. And a weird smoke play here from Risimer. Like, the smokes that we have seen from Risimer throughout these games have never been that effective. And I don't feel like this one is going to be any different. Like, you want to kill the enemy here. You don't just want to smoke off. And like, real artillery would be so much better than those Czech artillery mortars. So the 120mm mortars of the Czech actually can be pretty good because they have the good firing arc of directly firing against units as well, potentially. But yeah, another T-72 here getting side-shotted. Like, this is not looking good. This attack has no real cohesion, and there's too much defensive infantry on the other side to just try to drive over this with vehicles.
Yeah, and this the smoke is just not enough. Even the fagots are opening fire already. The timing was a little bit off. Just a single mortar is not good enough for this. Yeah, the if there were like few extra T-72s and this long-standing trading of blows out of long range, they could maybe start firing up, especially working together with the heavy howitzers. But I just think the ferocity of Fat Kid's infantry attacks just made sure that this force was never built. And now what we're seeing waves of BMP-2s, which is the thing you want to have after you have those T-72s in the front line. Yeah. You need to secure fire supremacy basically in that way, and then you can just keep feeding the middle range BMP units that are gonna be all-rounders, are just gonna expand your firepower against soft targets.
Yeah, the BMP-2, great once you start taking out the enemy ATGM teams. ATGM teams currently have the issue here for FatKit that they have mostly run out of ammunition, so the BMP-2 numbers here, together with a couple of T-72s, still could work out. The MiG-23 MF here getting hit by the Coops, so Coops doing a decent job there. Does need to be resupplied, or the resupplied vehicles moving around right now, not resupplying the Coops. Making a mistake there. T-72 goes down there in the center. So yeah, in the end, everything still gets bogged down there, and attack through the open field without air, without artillery support is usually not working out at this stage of the game unless you really have superior numbers, and this was not the case for Risimer here. Or you have a great flank, which was by no means the case here either. And it's going to be hard for Risimer in 12 minutes to break this position here now. And FatKit knows that he just has to hold on here now for the 200-point victory. And really, Risimer has not shown any great skill at setting up pushes against cohesive enemy front lines. Like in the last game, it was the constant flow, and the overextensions by FatKits allowed Risimer to get into positions where there was little opposition. But against positions where there are strong enemy forces, he has failed time and again so far to get something on, and I feel like this might be the same case here, because currently it's not looking like he has a real answer to how to crack this position.
Yeah, it's they're too similar technologically and strategically that there is no silver bullet. Like the Dana would have been able to trade against this had there been a slower playstyle, and maybe there had been slower playstyle if FatKit hadn't opened up the game by getting a really nice set of kills, which kind of then followed FatKit into that big all-in that failed into the concave. Then, of course, counterattack, which then was mismicroed. And the game opener was too fast. At every point, both players were kind of just grasping and trying to get while the going was good. And now that we're seeing the 19th kind of play as a heavily mechanized artillery, tank, mechanized infantry kind of force, it's not doing that badly. It's just that the enemy has so much more numbers.
Yeah, the situation here currently not looking that great for Risimer, as BMP-2s all have been gunned down but one. The T-72s now trying to break through, and there are enough supply units coming in for FatKit to keep the units that get shot up back in, getting them back into action. The Mi-24P here, good little defensive unit as well. S-25 goes down. Does hold out in the south quite nicely. It's a BMP-2 there coming around, but at the same time, Fat Kid here coming back with a push there towards the south as well. Ooh, what the Streltsy getting hit by the Conquerors. MiG-23 here coming around once more as the coup does get a hit, but the second coup out of ammo. The push actually gets a +1, but that's because Fat Kid has started throwing resources into the south and will get the tick back online there, as the Wizard Curry don't have ATGM support, so the tanks can just overwhelm them with fire support over the long shots. And yeah, the BMP2s and T-72s get overwhelmed now by pure numbers in the north as well, by flanks, and the CV T-72 already down. The other two BMP2s pushing over the open fields, and really, I feel like Risimer has to work on how to do efficient combined arms attacks, because those have been the weak point in all 3 games. He has set up solid unit setups throughout the series, but he didn't really use them, and maybe like he had a good artillery piece in the first game. I really don't quite get why he did not get one of the best artillery pieces in the game here with the Dana in this series, because the Dana could have made the world of difference here. Instead, T-72 is running into HGMs time and again, and this is going to be Fat Kid's game at this point. Very, very likely if Fat Kid gets into Dimitri, but that should just be no problem, as there's only an infantry unit without AT in there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's if somebody comes and grabs your purse, are you gonna sit back and call the police, or are you gonna run after them? I mean, you run after them and you don't catch them, but you still feel better than if you just had sat back and not done anything. And this is when Fourth Moto gets a chance to play this infantry attack style. Fourth Moto can get a lot done. They can saturate the area with Fagot and Conquerors missiles. They have just good enough tanks to have them help the infantry attacks, but not too expensive as to kind of lean into tank massing armored gameplay in the way that 19th does. And as the 2 paths of 19th, the air assault and the mech path, none of them were really committed to completely. And I think maybe if the game had been a little bit more boring, if Fat Kid had not done the all-in early on, maybe the combined arms would have come more naturally. But the especially with a lot of the Visatkari mid-game counterattacks, I'm trying to get the stronger infantry squads all around the map, and then just losing them with like mediocre infantry micro, not getting the value out of those units. I think that kind of showed, and when Fat Kid realized that he could just get those things out, especially of the middle, the reinforcements were so purposeful. It was very clear that he knew what was happening there. And I think Risimer should have, as you said, like Risimer should have committed to one of the paths. Either just do a proper fast Su-25 rocket helicopter constant attack, get some bombers if you have them, and use them to target the enemy AA, try to beat them at their own game. But if you only dip into that every once in a while, if you dip by a Su-25 every once in a while, or a helicopter, you're going to lose those units without them actually affecting so much of the end game. Removing singular units against the Fourth Moto is not the greatest, because they have such capability to resupply.
Yeah, and that means Fat Kid will move on to the finals here in Division 3, and we will have to figure out who will be there on the other side. So, quick break, guys, and then we're going to be back with the second semifinal, Luke versus Ludi. So, quick break, and then we're going to be back with that one. So, let's go into the second series of the day, as we have Flockto, aka Luke, versus Ludi. And we're starting on Cried Up, where we have 39th Guards versus CLKA, counter pick here of Ludi. And then Vinetta versus 9th Infantry, the American one here. Then last one here, 8th US versus 16th Belgian, if we get to game number 3. So that was gonna be interesting here. I like the CLKA a lot lately. It's a division that has gotten pretty good in my eyes, especially with the extra layer 2s and so on. And on the other side, we have 39th, which is a staple of WARNO since the early days. It never has been terrible. It hasn't been top of the matter in a while either, though. But it has a couple of things up its sleeve still. And we have a classic kind of like new light fire support meta opener here that has been coming around, especially since a couple of YouTube videos have pointed out that it is pretty strong. It is beatable, and Mix90 didn't just only spam this in the finals because it's not the silver bullet to quite everything, but it can be really good. And the MG, the 7.6mm MGs currently are really, really strong. Likely a bit too strong. So yeah, using them here aggressively can work out, but those deployments are insanely aggressive out of block though. Like, trying to get into the buildings in Charlie as the right side on Kreider, that is really surprising, and Ludi might still get got by it though, as Ludi invests mainly into the south here.
Yeah, like the thing about 39th that we've seen in competitive play especially is that 39th has a lot of versatility. And what does that versatility mean in practice? Well, it means that they can do an air rush. They can do air rushes if they want to. They can do heli rushes. They can even just play slow and get a lot of defensive units and start massing up tanks. The only thing they really can't do is massing BMP2s because they don't get as many of them. They get more BMP1s. But when you have a Soviet infantry division, you're never gonna really win with the quality of the infantry anyways. You're largely going to win with the quality and number of support equipment and transports. And I don't think we're not necessarily gonna see an Su-25 opener, but I think if the Phantom here gets caught, a second fighter coming in, CLK is not going to be caught lacking.
Yeah, that MiG-23 is in danger.
Here it comes.
Ooh, yeah, Su-25s coming in a number. F-16 at least did spot them there. MiG-23 doesn't quite get the kill yet, but likely will get it with the gun. Nope, it gets out just in time, but the Su-25 here now are the big danger. And we only have a Bofors S ground-based AA here around right now, so the Su-25s, they don't have any air-to-air missiles, so once another plane comes around, they will be in danger, but that's still 7 seconds away from happening. And obviously the other side can buy some AA as well. The Bofors here likely just gonna get run over. Gets to meet 2, so the recon helicopter at least goes down. The extra range on the Dutch Bofors helps out a bit there as well. PO-105 in the middle goes down. Phantom gets a kill. Phantom gets another hit against another Su-25, so in the end, might still pay off here. And let the Su-25 cheese get answered decently well here. Phantom.
Yeah, fortunately, the Phantom 2 is a great fighter. It has 7 missiles, and even though they're not the best missiles, they're still more than most. And for only 185 points, that's one of the most cost-effective air supremacy fighters, I think, is the Phantom 2 here, the American Phantom 2 specifically. And there is still an M113, which can apply some kind of fire in the middle.
The Storm gets it. Smoke already used against the Su-25s, but Ludi is getting into the south now. Losing the center here to those MG fire teams, that's going to be annoying, but if you can get Bravo and stop easy reinforcements into the center at the same time, then the situation here will still be fine. The question is, does that happen? The fire teams here and the Motostrelki Medis are annoying. The Centurions now opening up fire against them, though, should be able to stun down the Medis before it can get the kills on them. So the hunt here on the Medis team is important. Yeah, Medis team trying to disengage, so it doesn't even use its Medis right now. The F5 HE gets a good kill there as well. There goes the Medis team, MiG-23 here on the hunt, but it's not going to be fast enough to get the F5 with short-range missiles, so one hit there, but no kill. And the Centurion's really clearing up the south so far. Motostrategy will be able to deal with them. Commando coming in on the other side. So the tanks here have to be careful. Spot the enemy now. Yeah, Centurion already moving backwards. Leo 1v pretty stressed out. Oh, can't break line of sight there, but does not get hit. Commandos coming around here as support. Both tanks just need to run away here at this stage. Centurion is not running, that's a mistake. Will get got by the Motostreltsy there. Big mistake there by Ludi. Whilst the forces of Blokto did rotate south. No real units there in the north. Ludi with the better traits in the air, but yeah, has to be careful to not lose everything on the ground here right now. Minigun BO-105 coming around. We have a Coop here now getting involved as well. Commando does stop the BTR-60. The Leo 1 can deal with the BTR-60s as well that try to rotate around it. Commando 1 versus 2 versus the Motostreltsy will lose. So it will need some more assistance there. More infantry needs to come around. BO-105
Minigun.
only having a
Can the
minigun,
minigun survive?
can't deal with the BTR, so will get gunned down there by the BTR. Rotating back, BTR gets got by the Leo, so minigun does survive for now. Commandos disengaging there as well. Next commando unit coming in. MiG-23 being bought. We have a Hawk on the other side. Can the Phantom deal with the MiG? Bofors helping out there as well. Yes, it gets the kill there. BO-105 minigun getting killed for that is totally fine. And the Hawk here is big. The Hawk dealing good damage to the Motostreltsy, stunning one down. The Commando still might want to disengage there a bit further. But yeah, that Hawk is a big support here for the southern push. BMP2 is around as well, whilst Phantom stays behind here. But so far, good play coming out of that pretty scary opener here for Ludi. So
oh no, the Hawk is getting... Hawk gets shot down. No, but the Bofors could actually finish the skill. I think that Hawk traded upwards.
Yeah.
That was an upgrade, I think.
Yeah, the commando that comes in now should be really carefully deployed into the other forest. And the current pathing is dangerous. There is still a BMP2 here. Like the F5 HE in the middle, taking out the Motostreltsy. Verkenner's getting rewarded there a bit. Northern situation here is still fine. But yeah, the old school SU-25 opener here didn't go terrible for Blokto, but I feel like Ludi is playing this as pretty well here as well, and just has to get a bit more stabilization into the front line after winning the air war with the Phantoms and with the F5 starting to get some upticks there on the ground as well. Ooh, but losing the Leo, losing the Commando. No, Commando left out in the open. Yeah, they deployed the wrong way into the area, and that likely will kill them as well. And the Leo 1 just not out of enemy RPG range forest to forest. That was a big mistake there as well, meaning that there is currently no real AT in the south. Bofors there a bit overextended as well. North is taken by Ludi, but Ludi needs to get something to deal with the BMP2s, and helicopters are not that. Like, yeah, you need some ground units there to deal with this. There we go. Another Leo 1V coming around. You want to get the front line relatively stable and then use the MR10s usually as CLK, but that's currently
like
far bit off.
The CLKA sending air units and sending helicopters to fight this, but the problem is that when the OSAS, the BMPs, and the T-80 are on the ground, your helicopters are just gonna be expensive paperweights, that expensive defensive units on long range and vulnerable defensive units on long ranges. Like the air supremacy here has been probably the thing actually keeping Ludi up, but the Blokto has already moved away from the air spam and is now just getting a bunch of coups out here. The NF5s have been decent, and especially if they can take out this Conquerors here, right now would be the moment for Ludi to really try to invest into Charlie. But so many points are spent in the fighters as well as in this contestation of Bravo, and there needs to be a Leopard 2. There's something to fight the BMPs on long ranges, and the Pavan helicopter is pretty all right in this task, but it's only a matter of seconds until the Igla gets in here and gets a one-shot kill.
Yeah.
Oh, now Wild Weasel coming in, interestingly. committing to the airplay.
The Coop is turned off. Osa gets turned off as well here. Good micro from Block though. Leo 1v moving around. BMP2's one
Oh no,
getting
the
got.
Sturm killed the Sturm killed the Centurion, the only unit actually attacking in the middle.
Yeah, and it might get the M113 CV here as well. ATGM is out. M113 not smoking. Smoking too late. The fast missile gets the hit. Leo 1v in the south now, getting into a fight with an overwhelming opponent in form of the TADPV as well. That's where you would need the air. Yeah, airplane's currently not around. Seat plane on its own, never great. Gets a hit actually against the SU-27. Here comes the cluster bomber. Here comes the HE bomber, but seaplane gets killed off before it arrives. The F-16 cluster still might get the kill there in the south, but it goes down for it. So in the end, that's a trait that the 39 absolutely takes. And yeah, that's how you never want to use seats. Seats should never be out on the battlefield on their own. They always should come in with the strike package. And this time, once more, being caught out before the strike package arrived allowed the Coops to turn back on to just finish off the other planes. And that means the straight here in the end. Still pretty good here for Block though. Minigun BO-105 goes down in the south as well. And Leo 1V now at least is the heaviest tank in the south. Can deal with the BMP there, but all the infantry is still around and no bomber can deal with
How
that.
many shots? It's missed 5 shots against that BMP2 now. 6!
Yeah, BMP2 at least didn't hit it either, but
7.
Leo 1V just not wanting to get the kill there. Commandos go down at the same time, and Motostreltsy there keep on pushing on. It's the northern situation here, not really in a position that Ludi can push, and yeah, that's always the issue when you try to get into the airplay against a division that has units like Coops and Osas. Like, if you wait a bit too long and they start to get a couple of those around, your big air investment just gets completely nullified, and then if you don't have enough on the ground, you're just gonna get rolled over, and it's pretty dangerously close to that right now. As once the TADPV arrives here on the south, there once more will not be a single unit that can deal with that. So this is the big problem here, because this time around the cluster bomber likely not gonna get through. Phantom here likely gonna deal with the MiG-23. A bit of a misinvestment here by Block though, but at least gets the Phantom as well with the OSAS and Coops. Might even get a hit here against the F-16. Not quite that, but yeah, Ludi. The fight for the south here not going well right now. SU-25 rocket coming around and the Coops kill the F-16. So the F-16, you're not stopping the SU-25. SU-25 kills the Centurion. Oh, this is looking really, really rough for our player in blue.
Yeah, I mean, this is it really just smells once again of these situations where an aggressive division gets kind of punched in the nose, and then they spend their first 10 minutes in the game trying to desperately get back into that aggressive stance, but they just don't get good enough trades and then end up doing light infantry attacks against the more armored foe. Like, the Bewailing Mobile units are not actually that bad. I mean, the Dutch give all of the machine guns to the Marineers, to the Bewailing Mobile, and the Commandos. Like, standard.
Oh,
Dutch
T80 engaging the Leo 1. It got the VMP2 at least. It needs to get the hell out of Dodge now. And yeah, will survive there, but the Bewailing Mobile, they're just not getting the job done against Motostreltsy on the other side. M110 finally is around. That is one of the units that really is one of the game changers for that division, that can start just gaining you kills, but you need to have a stable frontline for it to be really effective, and stable frontline is not quite there yet. Leo 2 is something that you can't quite get in onto the battlefield here just yet. Minigun BO-105 at least being used here aggressively to try to deal with those 7.6mm MG teams, which can't deal with helicopters, so good kill there. Bewailing Mobiles at least made it in to keep the enemy occupied in that position as well, so the M110 could do some counter damage there. But the Phantom here is currently mostly used as Coop bait, staying far enough away that they don't really hit you. And now the S-25 overextending there, but the Ihawk doesn't get a second shot. It's deep in the forest. Oh, can it get a hit? Okay, it gets the
Yeah.
hit on the way out. That's an important kill there. SU-27 down, but yeah, Motostralzi at least also engaging terribly here against the Waveling. So with the 3 MG teams, they actually do start to get some decent damage in. MR10 now firing onto the enemy coop here. That would be a great kill as well, though it's outside of any accurate shots and it's long range shots, so you need to get direct hits. Does get the direct hit though. Coop go down, and the M110 rotating around, moving forward. Those are the game changer units. Those are the hits that you need here to really get the CLKA moving. But the front line is still looking really fragile for player in blue.
Yeah, what I think Ludi should be doing here is basically trying to contain the enemy in Bravo. Get some infantry with Carl Gustavs and just put them into those forests north of Bravo, just prevent the enemy from moving the T-80s up, and then instead try to win the center point, the Charlie point. If you win the Charlie point, you get positions where you can basically prevent the enemy from moving away from Bravo and thus negating their investment. But I think these attacks have been going just too far in trying to contest this, that now that there is a constant line of T-80 BVs coming out there, it's it is a horrible place to keep sending Leopard 1s. And now you have the artillery, so just keep using the artillery to bombard them if you want. Just otherwise don't do anything.
Yeah, the layer 1Vs here is sent into the area where the TADBV has been scouted is just never gonna work out. And YPR Brad doesn't have great shots down there either. I feel like the focus of Ludi should have really switched back in towards Charlie, regaining control over that, and not contesting Bravo that much. Just like having some presence in that forest so the enemy can't rotate easily north, and yeah, have an HGM vehicle further south to stop any pushes there. But trying to contest the south there the way they did was a mistake. If you really want to escalate it, then you need a layer 2, 3, 8, 3 there to have a shot. But that obviously is risky. But if you want to take it, that's the risk you have to take. That didn't happen here. M110 keeps on getting some kills, but situation here in the center now, okay, they at least seem to have realized that this is the area where they have to attack. Storm not going to get a hit this time around. The infantry leader pushing forward. Leo 1V does get some kills here as well. Hence the infantry VK Pacific is pushing forward. Oh, Motostralzi with a side shot against the Leo 1V. Gets a good hit. Nearly gets the kill there. Motostralzi pretty low now. We have still 2 OSAs and the 2 coops here as AA, so planes off Ludi can't come around either. Igla team goes down. SU-25 gets hit, so there are still some good things here going on. SU-25 gets shot out of the sky, but yes, Charlie should be the focus of Ludi now. 24 minutes remaining. The points are still pretty close. They have now more defensive setup. That's the kind of setup that you want in the south now going on here as Ludi. And yeah, the question is, how can they contest the center here a bit more efficiently? MR10, I think, is a good way, but it's out of ammo right now to keep on taxing the Conquerors, keep on killing off Igla teams and so on, and just buy more and more traits over time. F5 HE is back on the battlefield, but as we have pointed out, too much A on the other side for it to survive those engagements.
Yeah, I think the ITOs and Prats have TOW2 missiles and are basically a little bit cheaper to buy than the infantry. Infantry ATGMs have the Prats around and try to build a concave on long ranges around the middle, and then get your Leopard 2s.
Leo 1V just kept on re-aiming, get hit there. Another Leopard 1V in the center in a lot of danger. They are really not the greatest tank to fully rely on in this matchup. And then another one there goes down. They're just a bit too fragile. Motostralzi RPG overwhelming the YPR in the south here a bit as well. The infantry commander in the center.
Oh, Rasperka are hunting the leaders. Oh no.
Yeah, that leader is gonna go down as well. And 39th here on a good way now here as the CLKA Combined Arms just has fallen apart, and the classic 39th combination of BMP2s, a couple of the ADBVs as the heavy boys that the enemy has to find a solution against or just suffer heavily.
Oh no.
And yeah, there goes the Ito, there goes the F5.
And
This is not a
finally a
combined answer
Leopard
right now.
2. Finally a Leopard 2. And like the way to do this, I think, would have been to just play more defensively in relation to Bravo, especially when you see the first tank and the BMPs there. Yeah, that's at that point you detach from Bravo, you start building using the Panzerwerkeneers and the Prats to and the Ihawks to kind of just get some kind of control over the middle position. And when you have enough Prats there, enough supporting units, you start buying the Leopard 2s and you use the Leopard 2s to punch a hole into the enemy. And then you smoke and you run back and you let the Prats catch any tanks or BMPs that follow. Like the good infantry here can be used, the Panzerwerkenners, the standard infantry. These guys can actually push a little bit and they can win fights against these Soviet infantry squads. But the key is in having a group of leopards that can threaten the enemy and can force the enemy to send their fire support further back. If the BMPs are just allowed to hang around and they don't have to fear anything, the BMPs are always going to be amazing value because they'll be holding long angles.
Yeah, BTR here pushing forward. Buccaneers sitting back. Artillery does hit the 7.6 millimeter MG in the center. Second MR10 coming around as well. As Leo 2A4B rotates in. YPR Prats coming around. Osas and Iglas trying to get a hit against the Phantom, failing to do so. BTR 60 at least getting killed off in the south, but the Leo 2A4 here is the last hope, and it's completely overextending itself there, and the storm still not spotted there. Finally might have line of sight there. Oh, it's out of range. Okay, finally gets into gun range. Can one shot kill that at least, but it doesn't get the hit. And
Oh,
ATGMs from the T80s coming around as well, and the Leo 2A4 goes down, and with
unfortunate.
that, also the game goes down here, because by now the snowball here is just out of control. The MR10s haven't done quite enough. The AA have killed enough of the blue planes that blue plane, even if you hunt down all the enemy AA with your artillery now, won't get the ball rolling again. And yeah, this is just a bit unfortunate in like that. Duty did play well when it came to micro, but Duty didn't quite have the correct combined arms answer to the really just solid play of Blockdo. Like Blockdo did hit all the boxes. The push in the middle with the air spam opener, obviously a really, really solid one. And yeah, now the situation here is just quite terrible. The TADBV and BMP2s have been used really well, and the Leo 1s and Leo 2s on the other side haven't, and that's the big difference here. If you don't use your expansive units well, then obviously the other side will have a big advantage, and the situation here currently deteriorating quickly.
Yeah, I think the reason why I think Ludi wanted really and was committed to fighting that Bravo with infantry is that theoretically, especially with the commandos, especially with the security troops, there are a lot of large anti-infantry squads in CLKA. Like CLKA's speciality is kind of just massing support weapons for in infantry squads and then bursting down and suppressing other infantry squads. And I think with the commandos performing quite well and there being that little bit of a grasp that Ludi still had of Bravo, I think that just kind of blinded him there. That the moment to fight that with infantry passed, and Ludi just didn't spot this. And instead, if there had been infantry counterattacks going, for instance, into the Foxtrot, where it's happening right now, the 11-man and 9-man and 10-man squads could have maybe performed quite well. Maybe the Leopard 1 commando, 1 Leopard 1 attack units could have been really worthwhile if microed, but not when sent into the heavily fortified front line. And the mixing up a commando unit with an infanteria unit, the infanteria being weaker, only having a single machine gun, but in exchange having a Carl Gustav launcher. So in that way, there could have been like very useful infantry combinations that could have fought off BMPs, other infantry units, but all of that momentum was just given away by those failed attacks, counterattacks in the Bravo.
Yeah, and we see infantry CMGs now going down. We see commandos going down, the bombers going down. The cluster bomber here desperately trying to get a good hit in the middle, does fail to do so as well. Actually making it through the enemy AA here and making it out alive. That is pretty fortunate, but in general, the situation here not improving. This in the north position gets captured once more as well, and with that, it looks like the whole situation here is starting to fall apart, and Healers and BMPs on the other side getting killed still by MR10s. MR10s desperately trying to kill off the enemy AA. We have the double layer 2. No, it's only one layer 2 and then one layer 1 VCV in the middle. Okay. Like, those still could do some damage. But Storm once more unscouted here in the defense. And Storm terrible when it gets pushed and the enemy is actually getting on top of it, but if it has a good line of sight where it can fire long range, it's such a monster. It doesn't have smoke, it doesn't have a fast vehicle, so it can't disengage really. But once, if you have a spot where it can just fit around, it's so good. And yeah, now TADBV, double TADBV coming onto the Leo 1V. YPR goes down. The Leo 2 gets a BMP2 at least, but immediately gets hit on by a Conquerors, and there's 4 TADBVs hunting that one single Leo 2 right now. So yeah, it's big cat hunting here, and the big cat is in a lot of danger right now. Gets hit,
Good.
gets
Oh,
stunned.
front shot critical.
The-
Rasvedka Saperi is spotting everything here.
It's getting out there, but the CV goes down. The CV on the other side can come in again. 15 minutes still remaining. We still have a point lead here for Plocto as well, so it's not like Ludi can maybe play around points or anything. Like, that's not a win condition here either. And yeah, the game did look like Ludi really is up on par with Plocto when it comes to the micro, but Plocto played classic, standard, basic, and that the worked out. And Ludi tried to play a bit fancy, but didn't quite have it locked down, and that didn't work out. So in the end here, the basic crown play, like obviously outside of the opener, which was special, but Ludi really maneuvered that part of the game, I think, pretty well. Like, the opener was not what killed him here. The air opener was managed fantastically, but the play around the Bravo point was more the issue, where the combined arms was never really set up, and then Leo 1Vs just never got efficient in this matchup.
Yeah, and now we're seeing just the late game potential here. Just so many Osas, so many Coops, so many Acacias, and like Ludi is even with these better cannons is just trying to constantly play catch up. And even though the points difference isn't that massive, basically every single engagement is going for Blocto here, and Blocto will be able to just basically, if Blocto wants to coup de grace this, taking a bunch of the TATs and capturing Delta is not unrealistic, but also just doesn't have to do that. Can just wait for the Leopards to come to them.
Yeah, and gets the +1 backup line here, and yeah, it's a bit of a surprise to me that Ludi hasn't tapped out of this yet, because like I'm not quite sure what they think they can still achieve here, but there is no way back in this. Like, there's just too many uh overarching lines of fire here on the other side. The combat arms is too good, and Ludi does not have an angle here at all at any point of the battlefield. Obviously, it's the semifinal. You don't want to give up too early, but like, there is no way back in here. 2 Leo 2 A4s, the last remaining in the deck, trying to rotate forward here now, but with all the T80s on the other side, like, there's no way that these two are going to be pushing forward. MR10s just don't have enough time here at this point, and way too many targets, not enough good spotting either to really get the hits. Hitting in an empty spot right now We have Akatsias on the other side to counter as well, so it's not like the artillery is one-sided either. And yeah, a really, really, really good game here from Procto. Like, that is how you play 39th. Just hold reliable, get a couple of IFVs, get one or two key heavy tanks to pivot around that the enemy can't quite contest, and that forces the enemy to give up important ground, and then just yeah, get all the good support equipment that is slightly above curve or right on curve out and use that efficiently. OSAS, Coops, Me-24s, really, really well done here by our player in red.
Yeah, and the 39th having that potential air attack in the opener basically means that 39th gets an inherent opener buff where the enemy is not going to try to do that kind of strategies that could easily be countered by SU-25s. And instead, you kind of want to prepare, and you want to maybe even save some points in case the enemy shows with 5 planes, as we saw happen in this game. This is inherent debuff to the opponent's opener, but also it's the 39th does take a risk. If they want to go for that air spam, the air spam can just fail completely. With those rocket planes, I would say they're cheap enough and slow enough to reliably get some early kills. So even if you kind of get even with the points or even lose all of your planes, just the ability to have the remove the enemy screening force so that your like 7.62 machine guns and storms can just take free ground. That's a very, very powerful, simple yet very, very powerful opener strategy. And I think as people are going to be more comfortable playing with a lot of these 7.62 machine guns, and we're going to have even more just straight up screening in this game, that people are not going to just use BTRs, but they're going to use these 15-point squads. It's an interesting direction for the meta to go in, and we've kind of been waiting for it to happen, frankly. And it's interesting that there really were no amazing buffs that came to those cheap weapons themes. They're just 15 points and just a 1,200 meter range and ability to keep firing. It's just good.
Yeah,
It's deprioritized by enemy tanks, so they can survive quite along.
yeah, that's also the nerf of the IFVs that really brought them back. So that because autocannons don't dominate everything anymore, and that means there are also fewer IFVs out on the battlefield, more infantry moving around again, and MGs are really good at stopping those because they stun them down really quick. This 20 suppression of them actually really stacks up real quickly on enemy infantry. And yeah, the Leo 2s here now trying to push forward, but the T80s have the better cover. The T80s have the advantage of being the defender, and the Leo 2s trying their best here, getting some good shots. YPRs coming around as well, but one goes down here to the T80BV pushing through the southern forest. Second T80BV here pushing forward as well now to try to finish off the other one. Leo 2 did disengage quite far, but doesn't have any AIF support here either as the Me-24V comes around. YPR Brad's going down. The Coupons coming out here in support. T80BV does get hit. Should smoke off here right now. Will get another shutout. Does miss. And Leo 2 does miss as well. So situation there still fine. Me-24V getting another calm missile out. Trying to engage the Leo. Does not quite get hit, but keeps it combat inefficient. And a single Leo is not a dangerous force. And there we go. GG is called. And we have game number 1 here for Plocto. And yeah, I'm still really excited for this matchup between these two. Ludi did give a hard fight and did micro well. And if the combined arms gets a bit better in the second game, it's going to be interesting. But the second game also going to be a really different division from Plocto, from Ludi. Ludi here going out with 9th US Infantry. And on the other side, yeah, Plocto with Brunette also. Pretty different division to what we just saw. So quick break, guys, and then we're going to be back with the Spanish versus the US 9th Infantry. So see you all there in a second. So here we go. Game number 2. Plocto up 1-0. And now we have the 9th versus the the Brunette division on the other side. 9th US Infantry, the light little division. Floyd is going to have a break here. He might catch up to us later. But yeah, we likely going to be back for game number 3. So we're going to cover here Ludi versus Plokdo, game number 2. And we have a couple of VECs here immediately coming around. So Plokdo will play this once more really aggressively. But that is dangerous against a division that is wanting to play aggressive as well on the other side. Tokobras here and TO2 FAVs coming around. The snipers actually capable of maybe killing off those kind of units as well. The MX-30s Recon obviously a really, really good unit, but you have to be careful to not run into the TO2s there. Sniper team here coming around towards the north. Cobra, good unit in this matchup as well, as long as it can keep its distance just away from the enemy autocannons and 50 cals. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Like, 9th is always such a class cannon and such a make it or break it kind of division, and but not the kind of place similarly in that it is also wanting to keep the initiative, and if the enemy has a good line of sights, you can lose quickly with it, especially on its armored units. Though the good part for Brunette is that it has really reliable infantry. Like, this is what keeps the bread and butter going for that division, that you get the baseline fire support units there quite nicely. The fire team MGs that can be, or AA teams that can go into buildings. You get the fire support units like the Koa Luck and so on that can help out in the infantry fights, and especially against a division that doesn't have any IFVs like the 9th US that can be really good. But Black Forest is a 9th Infantry Division map. You have to worry a bit about Foxtrot, but you have enough good ATGMs to lock that down, and you have some tanks. You have some M60s PTS, so it's not like there's nothing to duel the AMX-30s on the other side. Like, the M60 is the weaker tank, but not by a massive margin. It has better frontal armor, and it has still a decent rate of fire, decent accuracy, and penetration that can be dangerous for the AMX-30s on the other side. So, going to be interesting. I'm quite excited for this one. T-Chap coming around. Ooh. Okay, F-15 in the sky from the get-go. Facing off against a similarly strong fighter in the F-18 on the other side, but none of those on the battlefield from the get-go here. Has the better missiles with the AIM-9M and the Sparrow, so that's its main advantage in the matchup. The Sparrow M versus the AIM-7F on the other side, but both high ECM planes. Eagle a bit faster as well, so F-15 is the slightly superior plane, but also the more expensive one of the two. And yeah, Dragons here coming around, M60s rotating in as well. Well, yeah, the big interesting part will be how the engagements here in the middle around Bravo will go. If the TO2 FAVs can get some kills there, the position there is interesting. Not the biggest fan of that. Like, that is not really great. Well, yeah, it can get good line of sight, I guess. I would have liked it a bit more off the beaten path, but that FAV tow getting in here, the Dune Buggy with the ATGM, aims immediately. One flying towards the enemy, one VEC here being spotted. The one VEC in the center goes down. Next ATGM has to be reloaded though. VEC gets off the beaten path, second one coming around. Breaks line of sight there as well. That's pretty easy. Over there, next, the one over here, getting the fire out of the enemy as well. And the Tow Cobra didn't show up here in the end. TO2 unit gets the MX-30 though. That's big. Likely gonna go down to the VEC here in a second, as it doesn't disengage. The VEC actually not hitting on this range. Oh my goodness, is it going down? Okay, smoke's off. But really lucky there that this didn't get killed. Sniper team goes down in the north. So of the VEC, FAV, trying to get the kill there. VEC now running it down. Dune Buggy has to get the hell out of there. It's faster, it can't just run. And we have a Tow Cobra now, we have a JOH Little helicopter here with the minigun coming around to stop enemy infantry. VC being pushed back. Surprising amount of investment here for Ludi in the south, but make sure that this is captured. M60 likely should rotate now. The kill on the one AMX-30 recon in the middle, really important, meaning that the push there can't be as smooth for the red team. F-18 here, the C-15 in the sky, but gets hit by the T-Chap, gets hit by the Eagle, immediately down. Ludi with good air trades once more, and just has to be careful to keep the combat arms together to be able to deal with those enemy lightly armored vehicles. We see overwhelming a light rifle there. AGL unit in danger as well, goes down too, but there is the tow cobra. ATGM flying out. The VC is routed, trying to disengage to the side, and won't get hit here. Stinger team in danger, needs to get the hell out of there. Reinforcements on the way. And yeah, too much investment here for Ludi in the south. That needs to get somewhere else. Currently out of position there. Really needs to reposition to a better place. As the tow cobra moves forward, AGL in the northern flank. We have the light rifle law slowly pushing over the hillside. Getting onto a little journey here. Up the path. Trying to find the enemy little vehicles here. The VC would be a good kill for them. Only having 4 shots with the law, but against the VC, they can be enough against the tow vehicle easily as well. So decently efficient there. AGL helping out against the Fusileros. Those come without any AT weapons, so the AGLs there are pretty good. Stinger team goes down. T-Chap in danger as well. The anti-light vehicle capabilities here currently are lacking. There are some light rifle dragons here. Those can be pretty good against the TOAs if you have a couple of them, but on their own they can get overwhelmed and just stun down and stun locked like this. So that's the problem there. AGL unit goes down as well. Light rifle team there getting overwhelmed. FAVs rotating. The 021 still around. Tow Cobra here coming up. Still no anti-helicopter here. So the Tow Cobra is a key unit. T-Chap goes down. And the Tower going down on the other side. VEC finally might get hit here. Yes. Finally goes down as well. MX-30 EM2 in danger, but there we go. Erlikon comes around, gets the Tow Cobra. M60 in trouble. Grenade launcher versus 50 cal there in the north. The grenade launcher teams do win. Erlikon next target there. The southern units still haven't rotated away from this. So a lot of Ludi's points still outside of the fight. But starts to get a cohesive force here into the center on the ground. So the loss of the Tow Cobra pretty painful. Whilst the scout team rotating in the north. VC there still in a good spot. The light rifle never found them. Didn't really go for the kill there. I mean, the position was pretty obvious, so bit of a surprise there that the light rifles are that far off the beaten path. Might find the Fusileros here, or only engaging with their light rifles though, not engaging with their AT weapons, so that could have been 2 kills as well. Light rifles here really doing a big mistake, and now they go into infantry versus infantry fights where the Fusileros will beat them, so big mistakes there by Ludi with the movement of that light rifle team. Could have done so much better. And yeah, now 2 versus 1 infantry fight. At least it killed one of the Pegasus, so it did stun the enemy down a bit. But no artillery out here yet to help out. Airplanes maybe could, but and the law's not making a difference there. And 2 versus 1 will lose the fight in the long run. M60 here, engaging against the enemy in the center. Trying to hold the line there. AMX-30 had to fall back. Will get repaired in a second though. Whilst we have M60 A2s coming around. Ito trying to get a hit against the MX-30 EM1. That smokes off. Doesn't quite get hit there. whilst the light rifle law in the north keep up the fight. This situation here currently in a bit of a pickle here for Duty, but better than the situation in the last game, I would say. Like the front line is still relatively stable. Combined Arms is still around and tries to get a hit here. Toa PC goes down. Points get recaptured here in the center. Whilst Artillery not around to really do any damage against the center. Aito chilling out in the southern part here around Charlie. Doing just fine as well. But I still don't quite get why the M60 is still here. Like, those mobile units here should have rotated north, and they could have done a lot of help here. Could have been a big help in the center. Recon drone coming in. The AA on the other side, not great yet. We have a Roland 2, we have the Ehrlichen, but all of that could be dealt with. Ninth has a good air tap. Aquila immediately gets shut down though by Roland 2. Roland 2 pretty good for that. TOW 2 here, trying to deal with the enemy TOW 2 vehicle. Does get the kill there. So a couple of red units here going down, though most of them being Pegaso. Fusileros getting killed off here as well. But we see a couple more kills here around the battlefield. M60 getting a hit against GameX. 30 Sublier getting a good hit on the air. 30 minutes remaining, so point tick here still absolutely something that you can come back on. And yeah, killing off the Subliers here, keeping those kind of units in check is key. And we have a good couple of light vehicles here coming around. The push through this town here may be a bit of a mistake for the Plocto, but Plocto has the next escalation level achieved here with the M110 artillery pieces, so that's what I would have wanted to see here a while ago. F-16 cluster getting a kill here in the north, but gets hit, so we'll be out for a while. M110 hitting the Flash and the military patrol. Like, this is really great M110 country. Those fights, the M110s can do so much, immediately taking out both infantry squads there at full strength. And that's a big issue. There are only a couple of good spaces where you can have your units, so M110 has an easy time getting shots on target. M60s here pushing forward, trying to get some more fire support. We have on the other side the mine clearing tool unit coming in. That's really good for that area as well. Can kill off enemy infantry quite efficiently, but 2 M110s now. So yeah, the long-term trading forces here have arrived. Port block though, that's a good investment. The ITOs both being targeted immediately. If you get the ATGMs on the other side, your AMX-30s can just push the enemy frontally and kill them, run them over. So that's good targeting. One of the ITOs currently still moving though, so likely going to be missed if the targeting doesn't change. The other one does try to disengage out of there. Is disengaging in the wrong direction, but shots are pretty inaccurate, so might still survive. Nope. There it goes. Artillery does get it, and the other one did disengage, so that, or did move forward rather, and get out of the shots. TOW 2 rotating around.
I have just caught up with the game, having seen watched this on 10 times speed. Seems to me that Blocto has managed to basically lock the enemy into the best place for the Spanish to fight, which is just these close range areas where their tanks can participate in fire support and the larger infantry squads can just very effectively hold the line. But Ludi's M60s and AGL vehicles seem to have reached a critical mass here to actually just hard counter the. And what do you think? I mean, is this just going to be a slug match with 2 artillery pieces just trying to break through the Americans? Because I think the mechanization of Ludi is gonna work better in the long term.
Yeah, the AMX30 numbers never been good enough. The AMX30 numbers have been kept in check. One early game kill with a TOW2 there, stopping the AMX30 recons from going out of hand. And now we also have Ludi trying to rotate through the north, has a CUCV GLH up there now to get some good side shot there. And the Prime in the center, I think the MR10s arrived a bit too late. Like, Locto got some good fights there early, and then they tried to push through the middle of the zone where there is a bit of open territory, and just got like did run into a concrete wall time and again there and just a lot of fire support from Ludi stopping them. So the M110s coming in now, I think they can do a lot of work, but Doctor has to stop taking trades against the M60s here, but because as you pointed out, that the M60 numbers here are in a really good spot by now. F18AT is an interesting choice here, knowing that the air superiority currently was in Ludi's hand, so that is risky play here. F16 Eagle coming around. Yeah, F15 Eagle coming around again. We have an F18 on the other side out once more, but in a 1v1 situation, the Eagle is the better plane, so that's once more risky behavior. This time around, no ground support for the Eagle though, so the F18 actually might get away with it. And yes, it does! Ooh, big kill there for Block though. Those were some important engagements there. And in the meantime, Ludi gets the North captured as well, so +1 finally going on for the blue side. Center fight here is in a really interesting spot.
Yeah, I mean, this is at this point with these extra light rifles units getting in here, the first light rifles already going to drive away, drive the Spanish away from the zone. This is gonna have to be won by the AMX30s now. Like the AMX30, oh, nice hit against the AVLM, but the AMX30s just have to get a lot of trades up. They cannot lose them into the TOW2s, and Ludi with the slower tank, the slower and heavier armored tank M60, basically wants to just play safe with them, and if he doesn't play safe with them, the faster and better penetration sub leads could actually getting one kill right here in 1v1 1v2 fight, and now if the sub layer count can build up without driving into all the great ATGMs, great and expensive ATGMs of Ludi, then I think the Spanish might have a future here in the middle. But now a TOW2 already destroying an important supply vehicle, a Pegasus there, also revealing itself. And now the artillery does target the spot, does target the TOW2 in the southwest.
Yeah, the M110s have been pretty active. They haven't gotten as many hits as you would have expected, but immediately taking out a TOW2, so they are paying off here in the long run. The +2 is really nice for Ludi right now, though, and that he gets the flanking move around the north is pretty big as well. It could get the CUCV GLH long-term into positions where they can cut the reinforcement roads towards Bravo. F18AT coming around again, not getting hit just there. Ichep now unloading, will try to retaliate. Not really in the spot to hit though. F15's not out on the other side. And yeah, still the Ludi investment into Charlie at the beginning of the game does cost them a lot of momentum still. Like those units, that's a loss of investment that is not participating directly in the fights. AT F18 finally gets a hit against an M60. Chaparral, T-Chap here. Can it get a hit? It can get a hit, but its reload... Ooh, not good enough there to get the kill in the end. So, yeah, center stabilized. MR10's currently not firing. Are they out of ammo? No, they're not. So the MR10's not firing right now. That's a bit odd. They are reloaded.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is that the Blockto can spot enemy units, but only spotting the AGLs, and those aren't a valuable enough target for the M110s. I think Blockto is currently seriously down on recon coverage, and this should probably be fixed. And the Jinetes down south should start moving or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, more Jinetes are coming in.
As we see 2 Sapliers going down there. Oh, Totus with the hits. Those are the things, like, yeah, that's why the AMX-30s are pretty risky tanks to play around with in a matchup like this. Totus just one-shotting them, even the Saplier, and 2 kills there within split seconds as 2 Totus did find their mark. That's a big setback. The other Saplier is now pushing forward. Supply truck gets taken out, but the FAV Toad 2 at least goes down as well. MR10 will find the other Toad 2 too, so at least a bit of a return there on those units. And the second couple of AMX-30s here maybe can find a bit more. So infantry currently not in great spots for block though, and we have more 5mm artillery on the other side now as well. Ooh, and that might open up the alpha push there with its current hits. Getting some hits against the enemy 7.6mm engineers in the south. Might get those as well. Yeah. Unit is down as well. AMX-30 attacked by the ground launch shell fires. Ooh, this is all playing with fire right now for block though, as they have to be really careful of the Spanish.
Yeah, and so far the AMX-30 force is still reliably kind of standing behind the infantry front line, and the AMX-30s could theoretically go down south to the middle if something tries to push into Alpha really quickly. But I still feel like Blokto. I think Blokto really just needs to not sacrifice these infantry units that are right here in the front line. Like this +1 situation can be kept up for still, at least for some time, and keep sending these AT planes, keep trying to kill key enemy units, but just don't risk anything, don't go over the top, and otherwise ninth's like emerging late game force here can actually just be a huge problem. The light rifles Dragon are not efficient against fusileros because they are more expensive, but they do have way more machine guns, so they do actually win the fights against fusileros despite them only being 9-man squads.
Yeah, mortars, GL8, CLGPs and co here trying to get some good hits. Sablier getting some damage back. The F-16 cluster got some kill, but got at the same time. The capture in the north here is pretty big for block though. Stopping the tick and even getting a tick back with the contest in the center. As the 2.5mm artillery pieces in the center now trying to find some kills as well. Oh, Ehrlichen actually being used as an aggressive unit here, just pushing into enemy infantry range. Trying to find some hits that way. Also MR10s do their damage. Still into the center. Light rifles having to disengage. Unite trying to push them. It's a really bloody game right now. And it's a really fight on the knife's edge here for both sides. Ehrlichen getting hit, getting killed. Light Rifle Dragon having to disengage here in the north. Humvee AGL pushing forward. VADS coming around, engaging the enemy leader there. Not quite getting the damage on that range due to its DPS being reduced on those ranges, but Situation and Bravo not looking good for Blokto. Like, Blokto doesn't have any infantry here anymore. The contest there did work out. We see M109s now arriving next to the M110, so Blokto really wants to scale up the artillery fire, but I feel like they just need more infantry at this stage because they can't spot enough right now for the artillery they have already. So more artillery doesn't really solve that issue in my eyes.
But how much infantry is there left? I mean, this has been a very infantry-heavy map, and the light rifles are, they have some, like the Engineer's Flash here, which is basically a win engagement card for against infantry squads. And 9th US just has so many machine guns. They're very effective, and not to mention, of course, those grenade launchers as fire support. Could it have been that they've just slowly ground away? I mean, more Fusileros M60 are now coming in, and C90s as well. But yeah, I don't think this is a position where the Spanish can do a lot of infantry attacking anymore.
Yeah, artillery here, finding good targets once more, but the M109s on the other side just not really achieving their goal, hitting the enemy infantry, but really Plocto just not having the bread and butter right now up in high enough numbers. The lack of infantry to really lock down the enemy, also spot maybe a bit better for enemy ATGM positions. Like the recon infantry in this game never has been good for Blocto. Blocto only used recon vehicles and a couple of units here that were relatively defensive, and that was also one of the reasons why those ATGMs were allowed so many kills. And +1 is not great ticky right now for Ludi, but it is enough to get them above the enemy. 60 minutes remaining, and that's more than enough to get a decent pickup here with the +1. As both sides here still contesting in the center. That F-18 in danger there. C-15 in the fault for the Spanish. Gets shut down, gets killed, and in the center fight here, the situation still stable. Both sides not firing their artillery right now to find the enemy CV or anything. MR10's currently they're just guessing. Like the lack of recon really hurting the Spanish right now.
Yeah, I mean the good optics of your recon vehicles, the BMRs, and the recon tanks is just nowhere enough to actually support equipment. Like recon vehicles are all right if you're moving as a group of vehicles, and one of those vehicles had good optics. You can spot the enemy vehicles who don't have any optics. But against infantry, against this CAC V that just destroyed the AMX recon unit, they are worthless. They're not great on the defensive. You need to have just standard four-man infantry squads or recon squads. Those are the cornerstone of basically every division.
Yeah, good kill here. A good victory by Ludi. Really nice comeback. And once more, we will go into a game 3 here. As Ludi really did play the 9th well. The Totu did do the jobs, like usage of the key tool to deal with the enemy heavy units uh, done well. Enemy recon just not quite up at any points, and the M110 just coming in a bit late here for Blocto. So job well done by Ludi, and that means we will get into a game 3 here once more. So yeah, 1,200 points ahead as well. Really, really well played 9th. Like this is how you want to play 9th. Avoid the front line and leave open spaces open for the enemy. Try to push over, and then have enough fire support on the sides and enough little ambushes to get the kills. So yeah, job well done. Let's see how it goes in the decider game. Who will make it into the Division 3 finals, Ludi or Blocto? So here we go. Decider game between Ludi and Blocto. Who will face against the Fat Kid in the grand finals of Division 3? Will it be the 16th Belgian that makes it for Ludi, or will 8th US push it on for Blocto? Two divisions that we really have seen a lot of this season. Really have been the bread and butter NATO divisions for it, and it's really fitting that they are the ones that make it out here. As on the left side, the Belgians here setting up with a decent bit of aggressive opener here, including the lovely little Italian helicopter of the A109, bringing in the Belgian Special Forces recon. Whilst on the other side, we have a big infantry blob coming in south, together with one M1 Abrams, so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, the standard Abrams here, great choice, especially considering the Belgians can't get further than a Leopard 1A, 1A5, or is the 1A4 that they get?
And the
So
105B,
M1,
yeah.
perfect counter. Yeah, and perfect counter there. 60 M60 machine gun teams, as well as like the more expensive mech rifles Dragon units, which will be able to pretty efficiently deal with the support equipment, such as the AIFVs and the M113s that the Belgians also rely on for extra soft attack. But the like, where is the? I mean, the Belgians are buying 2 fighters, so in case the enemy does a helicopter opener, I guess. But there's barely any infantry. The ESR GBP will be able to just hang back, and they're out there very quickly because of those quick, fast Augusta helicopters. But what's gonna happen when these mech rifles actually get there on the zone? There are no tanks coming out for Ludi either.
Yeah, Bradley also spotted the Humvee. Humvee didn't spot the Bradley, so Humvee, they're in trouble. Does get taken out. Two Mistral teams here as well. So yeah, that's a lot of AA here coming out. VADS in number. It seems like Ludi might have been a bit traumatized by that first game and just expected another kind of air opener here and maybe overinvested there. So yeah, the air opener that he did handle well in the first game might cost him the opener in the third game, though, because of just how overly protective he has set up here in defense against air. At least using the F-16s actively on the map right now, like doing the best with their Vulcan cannons, taking out the LRS recon teams. So that's a good usage there, making the best out of a bad situation, hunting down an ITO team next here as the ESR GVPs moving around. If he could get the ITO team there, that actually would mean that the F-16s basically have already half paid off, but he doesn't get that. F-16 both get hit, will be out for a while, and the air needs more support here on the ground for sure. Like, currently the number of units that can hit infantry are just so limited, and even the other units are not in a great stat. Okay, Mercip coming in.
Why you have bombers?
Good hit, but the Mech Rifle Dragon still is an issue.
That is so. Let's wait a minute, 30 seconds, and let's get a second bomber there, I guess. There's like the loss of tempo when it came to
it's the M1.
Boy.
That is a big kill.
The helicopter bomber opener is kind of necessary if you miscalculate your opener that badly and just don't have any tanks or infantry on the ground. Like the Belgians can bring out tanks and infantry quickly, but not this quickly, not immediately. And the 9-man Dragon Squad in the middle has to be dealt with by something. And at least the snipers managed to destroy and gun down the LRS squad, and now the only recon is the Bradley on the back line there. And the Bradley is under threat by basically the Milan 2, so it's not moving forwards. And even more time has been bought to hold. The GVP managed to just exchange a little bit of fire down south, so there is buying time for the actual reinforcements to arrive here. But yeah, this helicopter and that bomber, they need to work perfectly here. Oh no, the Bradley is now pushing the sniper, and the Milan is just out of position to actually engage it.
Yeah, MG teams here coming in for Ludi as well. 7.6 millimeter MG teams rotating into the center. Ito, Bradley's trying to engage, but that's not the most important part there. The A109 rotating around south. Has to be careful there with the Stinger team though. And maybe would want to get a repair here. As yeah, it can tank a Stinger, and that's one big difference to a lot of other NATO ATGM helicopters, which can't do that. So getting back that ability and getting the repair on, especially as only 2 ATGMs are left, so you want to reload anyway, would make good sense here, as we have an ASR GVP coming in once more towards the middle here. So there is a Chaparral next to the Stinger there by now. Stinger team might get killed by the sniper. Milan 2 now engaging the Bradley, so the Bradley is in a bit of danger there as well. Oh, Milan does miss, but Stinger team gets shot down. Sniper ESR does not get spotted quite yet by the Bradley. Milan 2 does get killed, and now the sniper gets killed off as well. Jagdpanzer goes down in the south too, so the defense of Alpha is rather questionable right now.
Okay, the Mirsip is coming again. It needs to get the money shot right now. Do they act? No, they're destroying the frontline mech rifles. But 3 more mech rifles dragons are coming in here with some extra weapon support teams. The ESR GVP are landing, but the helicopter has no weaponry, so it can't even try to suppress the enemy. And even the Sultan is going to be able to get the zone. Maybe there are nobody here to hold it. Is it second bomber time? Second, third, fourth bomber? How many bombers?
Yeah, they are still a Chaparral left. The F-16C-8A though gets pushed back, so more bombers actually might be a viable option right now for the moment. Issue is we are Mount River, and there are ITOs on the other side, so long term you really don't want to overinvest into air, but you might have to right now. Milan vehicles all go down. The Bradley here doing a fantastic job. Milan 1 going down as well. That Bradley down to 3 hit points is an absolute menace here and just completely ruins the position here. Chaparral getting overwhelmed by the bomber, so it seems like Ludi wants to do the air spam. Milan 2 finally finds the Bradley and does not get the hit though. Scimitar finishes off the job, but there is an Abrams there.
Scimitar!
Sultan goes down in the middle as well. The ADS pushing around in the south, but there is an M60. M1 Abrams in the center, doesn't get overwhelmed this time around. Mech Fusiliers, Sultan, Mistral all going down. The Mech Rifle reinforcements in the center doing a good job. There is no AA right now, so more air spam could work for the moment to at least get a couple of kills here. But the front line is also relatively fragile at this point. The Milan 2 team currently being in a terrible position. But at least the Scimitar is still around. F-16s might just be there for strafing at this point, like using them to try to get some damage onto some important enemy infantry teams, or the Stinger or so. Like that could still be worthwhile. But Scimitar goes down. ESR GVP did go down. Like the situation here currently not developing well for the Belgians.
Yeah, the artillery here will be able to start softening up these very, very strong 9-man infantry squads, but it's not going to be able to get kills, especially not without a corrected shot. And corrected shot may be given by the Alouette here, but the lack of recon is just a huge problem in general. The ESR GVP will be able to land in the middle here, unless the Stingers can actually catch them out and rout them, which is unlikely because it's a veteran helicopter. But yeah, this with this M60 and Bradley supporting this attack down south here, and the Rangers Dragon managing to get one of the angles already, I think Black Hawks are deploying more Rangers, and there's a Hawk coming in. Blokto is clearly trying to attack south. Blokto doesn't feel like middle needs to be secured further, which is probably correct. And so right now, I think Ludi has a very, very limited moment on actually trying to attack the middle, because otherwise the troops are going to be demanded for the southern attack, southern defense.
Yeah, M110 here attacking the Milan 1 in the south as well, so that is pretty dangerous now as well. The M110 has finally arrived, and Belgians are under a lot of pressure, and the pushes currently of Ludi just not working out here. Another Milan 2 shot here coming out towards the M1 in the center, but it won't find the side shot, so won't get a kill. It does find good hit, but there's nothing else there to really do the damage, so M109, the A109 not really helping out there. Mistral goes down, Milan 1 goes down in the south as well. The AFVs can just get pushed over now by that Abrams. Another M1A1 coming around. Okay, the cluster bomber at least does find the hit. F-16's not immediately strafing the Stinger. That would be a good idea right now. As I said earlier, I think air might be the way right now. If you already target Chaparrals and so on, like, keep the planes coming, but that is not the case right now. And without that, I feel like there is too much of a bad positioning right now going on here. Like, the forces that Ludi has aren't even that bad, but they are currently in the wrong spots. But the right spots are captured by Blokto, and the +2 here is now ticking nicely.
Yeah, and like that AIFV losing it to the ITO, and now as the howitzer is going to punish, the ITO has already moved, and meanwhile counter-artillery M110 is takes out the Milan 2, which was the core defense of the middle, basically. That was the one that would punish enemy vehicles if they started moving west or southwest. And yeah, at this point, like I really do think Ludi just lost this game now. At least lost the opener for themselves by just predicting something predicting an air spam opener that did not happen. And like 8th US should not be in this position at this part of the game. Like they should not be just casually bringing out more Abramses and Dragon rifles. And even if they traded well, the Fusilier opener, the forward deployment opener, followed up by a bunch of fast and numerous older generation vehicles. That's a powerful opener, and it's a powerful opener against the 8th US. 8th US opens up with an extensive Special Forces recon. You just destroy it. They open up with a single fighter, single bomber, no, single tank. You bomb it with a Mirage. You have the tools to deal with the early game, standard early game of 8th. And right now, it just Ludi is fighting this brave attempt to get back into the game after not using any of their great opener assets.
And yeah, M109 here, trying to get the hit against the Eyehawk, trying to get a kill onto that little unit, but the kill there still needs to be followed up by something from the air. Like, the focus on the enemy AA here has been nice by Ludi throughout the game. Okay, there come 2 bombers again. The Eyehawk doesn't quite die, that is annoying. And the Mercip and the cluster fall back, and no fighters around with them. And the F-16 CAA, oh no, losing one of them would be really, really bad right now. One of them getting damaged already, that's pretty bad, as it actually goes down in the end. Another F-16 CAA coming up here. I think this is kind of death sentence for all of this. As now the push in the south can come here from Plocto as well. This is not looking good for our player in blue. Hawk pushing forward, our little helicopter doing its job, getting onto the Eclairs, Sultan under fire, Mac Rifle Dragons moving around. The A109 does not quite get the hit there, but the units all rotate around. M60 under fire. Likely gonna get overwhelmed here. Good hit there by the Jagdpanzer, but the situation just deteriorating there, as there's too little combine arms here around right now for Ludi to deal with the heavy units. And yeah, his investment into the air in the end does classically fail, as it has to on Mount River. Would obviously go against the narrative if an air spam would go through, as the map is just a bit too easy to keep control over the skies at. And yeah, Ludi tried to do it, but he didn't quite focus enough on it, and it did fall apart in the end.
Yeah, and just I guess if you give 8th US an inch, they will take that inch and pull it into a mile. Like they the ability to like if 8th doesn't get punished at all in the opener.
Oh no, F-16 is still around. The Mercip didn't try to realize that, tried to come in and immediately gets pushed back. 2 more cluster bombers coming in. Yeah, the air spam was attempted here, but where are the supporting fighters? Where are the 2 Gepards on the ground? Oh no, the plane's just getting shredded here right now. The Chaparral's doing their best, and all going downhill. This is going to be it. That was the final attempt here for Ludi to get a swing back into their favor with a push in the middle, with a kill onto the Abrams there, but it didn't happen. The M1 Abrams still alive, and with that, the push in the center will fail. If the M1A1 would have gotten killed there, Laleo with the AFV and the infantry support there could have maybe done something, but this way around, it's just not going to work out. So really a good game here. Another standard play here from Plocto, and Ludi a bit too afraid of his own shadow there in the beginning, like hearing an enemy air spam and investing a bit too much into AA, and then had to pivot into the airplay himself, but he didn't quite go deep enough with it to really have a chance of making it work, and this is just collapsing him right now because he has too little on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like the vision of the Black Hawks and the Hogs traveling over the river, over the lake, the pond, really, lake, and getting into the middle and beating the Fusiliers and beating the GBPs there. and then basically arguing yourself into an air counter opener when 8th US can just play standard on this map as well. Like the 8th US player, if you want to be a good 8th US player, I think you kind of have to start the games scared. You have to assume that the first minutes you're going to be replacing units or like placing units in some areas that you left uncovered. And if you don't punish an 8th US player early on, they will be happy to just start buying early M1A1s. Like, why wouldn't they? You get them you give them an inch and they will take a mile. And here, I think we saw perfectly that, oh, my standard infantry reinforcement, mech rifles dragon, my standard tank, M1A1, my infantry attack, Black Hawk dropped rangers, my defenses, my support, M110s and IHawks. Suddenly, like, everything with 8th looks so overpowering and good, but that is because they are balanced by weakness in the early game.
Yeah, and mech rifle fusiliers trying to push forward, trying to get some kills. Rangers getting the kill there. 7.6mm MG teams getting overwhelmed as we see more pushes in the south. As F-16A cluster once more getting pushed out here, and yeah, as you pointed out, when the Abrams get rolling, 8th becomes just really scary, as especially if you let them get their rangers into the right spots as well, because once they are in a spot, you won't get them out, and you often need those spots to be able to contest the Abrams. So, because especially in a division that doesn't have heavy tanks, you want to get some flanks, you want to get some ATGM shots onto the Abrams, but if the Rangers are there, you're not going to get them pushed out with just your infantry either, and that's what makes 8 so strong once they get ground. The thing is, usually they don't get ground that easy, but if you don't invest enough into your ground forces in the opener, then they do, and yeah, this is how that adds up. So really well played game here. I liked the games by Ludi in general from the micro as well. I'm pretty certain Ludi will do fine next season in Division 2 as well. But right now here, it looks like their run in Division 3 is about to end, as it seems like Plocto will move on to face the Pet Kid. Good killed against the Mirage.
Yes. And I still like I really enjoyed, like you said, I did enjoy like Ludi's games. I just think that that Blocto is kind of showing how being trying to not be too fancy can be like a really good idea, especially on these lower level divisions. Like the just successfully completing a series of tasks is often more reliable way to victory than trying to constantly overthink yourself. Because if you overthink or if you take a risk and it doesn't pan out, the ability to get back into actual fighting, to get back into control, can be way more difficult than actually succeeding in just, let's get the combined arms out, let's have a solid front line of recon, let's have the ATGMs and the AA and the artillery all out in time, and then follow it up with the tank. You know, it's boring, but it works. And a lot of divisions such as 8th, you can get really far by just kind of understanding and learning the rhythm.
And yeah, cluster bombers, they're trying to come around, but Chaparral once more getting killed, but there's just no momentum here going on anymore for Ludi, and that's the big issue. That's what we saw in the last game here, in the on this map here as well, that once the momentum is broken on the ground, the enemy can just get the good spots, and then it's so hard to come back. into those spots on this map, and air usually doesn't quite get you there. A10 here coming around on the other side, getting a good kill against the Leo. Gepard finally will get the shred there and will get the kill, but those A units coming in a bit too late as well to protect the fighters from or the bombers from earlier against the enemy fighters. As yeah, just the trades from the get-go, I guess, were a bit too bad here, and +4, only 2 minutes away from victory at this stage, and Ludi obviously doesn't want to give this up. Ludi wants to keep the tournament live as long as possible on, but this is not going to end uh, uh, the other way around here. Like, there's no comeback. This is going to be over in 2 minutes, as there's just no push power here remaining. F16 even coming around maybe for strafing, and there we go. GG is called. Really a good run by both players here, but in the end, Locto with a really solid 8 vs game here. Good opener, and just moving on from there.
Yep. And just constant good fundamentals. Doesn't have to be anything that fancy. It'll bring you. It can take you easily, I'd say, to like top 100 on the ranked if you just don't try to experiment at all, but just perfect your capacity to repeat series of tasks. Learn some of the maps, and you're easily out there challenging Mix 90.
Yeah. So GGVP here by Blockdo, and it will, as I said, it will be very interesting to see Ludi next season in Division 2. I think they are in a pretty good spot there. Obviously, Division 2 will be a harder challenge, but they can still come up with better play there. And you all will be able to sign up for for Season 6 tomorrow as well. It will start in mid of January, so uh, yeah, sign up going up tomorrow for all of you interested in the League 2. And we will cover the Luke versus Fat Kid, Plocto versus Fat Kid grand finals in the upcoming days as well. So thank you all for watching here, and yeah, see you all around. This was a lot of fun, and it's yeah, I'm a bit sorry for the lack of streams over the last couple of days. Had a pretty busy real life, and then EU5 also. I finally got into it, and it got a bit too much into it, maybe. But yeah, also pretty busy real life. So yeah, we'll try to get a couple more casts before Christmas, and then a couple YouTube videos over Christmas. And yeah, see you all around. And any final words from you? All right.
No, not outside of. I also am kind of unhappy that I haven't been able to do my 2 streams a week thing. I have a test in public law in Monday, so I can't stream this weekend. And but if I do stream this weekend, you will know that I have conquered my fear of just memorizing laws and decided to wing it.
So yeah, with that said, everybody, see you all around and have a great day. And yeah, we'll cover the Division 3